Good morning. So this morning there are no singing chipmunks. No, just me and a rant. So I woke up to the news that Fox News has as headlines Oprah Winfrey and Meghan Markle reportedly floated as replacements for Dianne Feinstein. And I think, yes, that's exactly what we need is Oprah Winfrey or Meghan Markle to become politicians in this comedy of errors formerly known as the United States of America. That's exactly what is needed in politics is Meghan Markle, a failed B actor, but family destroyer extraordinaire, or Oprah Winfrey, who right now today is battling with the internet turning against her because they believe that she is part of some mythical cabal that started the Maui fires. This is a grand idea, Fox. This is a great idea. In fact, Fox News, I think this is a better story than the story of the poor little puppy whose mommy was getting cancer treatments in Manhattan. And this little dog loved his mommy so much that he was able to track down his mom through the streets of Manhattan, 10 city blocks, to a hospital where would-be mommy is getting her cancer treatments. And this little dog tracks her all the way to the elevators and then obediently is standing at the elevators waiting for the door to open, where the little pup can then say, "Please, sir, can you please press the button for floor 13 where my mommy is getting cancer treatment?" That's right. And it was only by sheer luck. I'm talking about just the intervention of the gods that the little pup's brother, that's right, mommy's human son, comes walking by and says, "Oh, my dear God, there is my brother standing at the elevator waiting to go up and see our mommy." That was a story, legitimately, that was run on a weekend show on Fox News. Thankfully, I'm here to tell you that particular segment no longer survives. But now we have another joker at Fox News putting out national headlines. Oprah Winfrey and Meghan Markle are reportedly among those being considered to replace the greatest American senator of all time, Dianne Feinstein. It's true. I'm not lying. Winfrey's name is among those being what? So the lieutenant governor is going to be The Rock? Are we going to take The Rock and make him the lieutenant governor? What's wrong with people? This is not politics, not sporting events, and there's certainly not just a a popularity club. It's not an extension of Hollywood. Your people's lives are in your hands. If you're a politician, our politicians need to be the most brilliant in the land. Our politicians need to be people that have been trained and worked in and understand microeconomics as well as macroeconomics. They need to understand world politics, political leaders who may or may not have some sort of mental illness or personality disorder. Why are we floating Oprah Winfrey and Meghan Markle? What is the one accomplishment for Meghan Markle and or Oprah Winfrey that one would say, yes, this is a person that will have ideas that will give the people, we the people, some relief. That's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. Winfrey's name is among those being floated for the role, says Newsmax and the Desert Sun. But, dun, dun, dun. Okay, so there's a but. Okay. But the successful TV host turned billionaire, book publisher, and entrepreneur, no, she got up on television and talked with cameras rolling, and people liked her. They liked her personality. They liked her theatrics. They liked the fact that she knew rich and famous people, and so people could get a glimpse into the lives of Tom Cruise and hear a little bit of chatter, very much like what we do here on YouTube. I have an idea. Oprah Winfrey, start a YouTube channel. How about that? You would be you might in fact be the greatest YouTuber of all time, Oprah. Just get on your YouTube channel and just go live. Just talk about stuff. But what exactly do you know about cleaning up a city like San Francisco that is now, I don't know, maybe 30% inhabited by zombies? Do you know anything about zombies, Oprah? And worse, do you know anything about turning them back into human beings? Because that is what the California senator needs to know about. I don't even want to talk about Meghan Markle, y'all. I don't even want to talk about Meghan Markle. What in the world? She's a one-woman wrecking ball. She walks into the royal family and manages to destroy what is the greatest friendship among brothers of all time. And then how long did it take her? Less than 2 years. So I'm not even touching Meghan Markle's name, because that is like saying we today nominate Bugs Bunny to be the next senator of California. The Desert Sun and the TV said that the successful TV host turned billionaire, book publisher, and entrepreneur indicated as recently as in May that she, and here's the news of the day, people, for Fox News. Oh, Oprah is not considering the seat should it become vacant. Well, that is a pretty bizarre statement. Here's a statement. I'm going to make a statement for my friends here on YouTube, okay? Here we go. Are y'all ready? I would like to announce today that I am not considering becoming a meth head. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that we put that out there, and now everybody can rest easy with that information. I am not considering becoming a meth head. This is bizarre. It was announced Friday that Feinstein, who died at age 90, all eyes have since turned to Democratic California Governor Gavin Newsom, who will appoint someone to serve out the remaining 13 months of Feinstein's term. And can I say it's quite a pivotal 13 months if you follow politics. The two-term governor who attended the second GOP debate in Simi Valley last week on behalf of President Biden's re-election campaign to lead counter Republican messaging has stated in the past he will appoint a Black woman to the Senate in the event of Feinstein's passing. So what did these geniuses at Fox News do? Did they start making a list of all the Black women they know? Really? Because there's a lot of Black women that we could add to that list. Why Meghan Markle and Oprah Winfrey? Do you really want a senator, or do you want someone that you can tell them how to vote, and then all the people will say, oh, we support Oprah and all of her great ideas. She's the smartest person I know, and I know she's going to vote for me, when in reality, she's just voting for one person. That would be Gavin Newsom. And can I say, Gavin Newsom's decisions have not always worked out very well for we, the people, those people living in California, have they? Do you really want this guy keep making your decisions for you? So this to me is one of two things. It's either the most atrocious, obscene moment of clickbait history, and it suggests that Fox News is dead on arrival. I mean, let's face it, we're a true crime channel, right? Dead on arrival. Fox News, DOA. Now, unable to get viewers, unable to get readers, unable to do anything because their management is just absurd. And now today, on October the 1st, 2023, they start a new era. They have set their sights on becoming the next great National Enquirer. That is my rant. This is the silliest thing I have ever read. And frankly, if I was a Californian, I would be furious. I would be furious. Now, a lot of people are going to say, oh, wait a minute now, you know, Ronald Reagan, he was an actor, blah, blah. I know. I'm not even going against that. But in today's world, when things are a dramatic mess, perhaps because we have elected people that are famous instead of people that are educated and knowledgeable and have real world experience, those are not the people we vote for. No. Now we are voting for a personality. We want someone who's going to get airtime, like our newest representative from South Dallas. I'm here to bring the tea. Okay, so she brought the tea on the House floor, and it was an embarrassment. So look, y'all, this Oprah Winfrey, Meghan Markle, I don't believe it. I don't believe that. I do not believe that Newsom is seriously considering either of the two. I certainly don't think they're considering Meghan Markle, not by a long shot. Meghan Markle married the second prince. That's it. And once his wife began having children, Harry is less and less significant in the line of succession to the throne of England. But Harry is no American politician. He doesn't understand American politics on any length. And Meghan Markle, what he does know, Meghan Markle did not soak up by osmosis as they're laying in bed sleeping. That is not how biology and intellect works. So I don't believe that is even true. I think that's nonsense. I'm going to tell you straight up, too, if I was Oprah Winfrey, do you think I would want to leave my beautiful island in Hawaii and all my millions and all my horses and beach time and snorkeling time? Do you think I would want to leave that to come back to argue about what to do about a place like San Francisco? Of course not. Why would this woman care at all about being a part of California politics? Why would she? Why? She's a multi-billionaire. Why would she care? She has to, her calendar is full with things like getting on her Learjet and flying to Paris so she could go into the Hermes store on an appointment and buy her $50,000, $100,000 handbags, purses. She's busy. She's a busy woman. Why does she want to go sit in the chambers and have to make decisions and have people write ugly stories about her in the newspaper? Why would she do that? She doesn't. I don't believe for a minute she wants this. I do not believe for not 1 minute that she is even like in her fantasy mind going, oh, I think I want to be the next senator of California and have half of the people hate my guts. No, she doesn't. She's a beloved figure in the United States. People love her. She doesn't want that. She's an older woman. She doesn't want that. I don't believe that. I don't believe it. I think this is 100% Fox News thinking into the abyss of clickbait hell. That's what I think. Meghan Markle may be an American, but is still royalty of another country. Why would we give another country an inroad into our government? That, Hope Diamond, is another point of view. Yes, it's silly. I don't believe it's real, y'all. I really don't believe it's real. I think it's Fox News being pitiful. I think it's Fox News. The new management at Fox News hasn't got a clue what they're doing. They don't have a clue what they're doing. And as I said, they have now sunk into the abyss of clickbait hell. And they're going to soon find out that people don't respond to that. Fool me once, okay, but don't expect me to click on your BS again. So this is, this could turn out to be the type of decision that puts the nail in the coffin of Fox News. That's exactly right, Nancy Drew. They're desperate for views. Fox News has destroyed themselves. They are desperate to get views, and people are not watching them anymore. They're not watching. All right. Rant over. Oh my gosh, that was way too much for Sunday morning, wasn't it? And I think I did it all, not one single cuss word. I don't think I've had a single cuss word. Hey, Caspi, how are you? Alternate. Well, yeah, exactly. So I'm done. It is, Scarlett. It is shocking. It is shocking. One of the reasons that I remember that little dog story that's supposedly tracking the ambulance through the streets of Manhattan, arriving at the hospital, waiting to get on the elevator. The reason I remember that is because I was listening and they were telling the story, and they even had film. They had B-roll of the hospital, and they showed the elevator. Was supposed to be like this feel good Sunday segment, right? And I remember looking and going, is this Fox? Like, am I really watching the right channel? Because I thought, this is nonsense. This is just nonsense. That didn't happen. What they're lying now to their viewers. They're lying to the American public. This is supposed to be a serious news organization, and they're telling a lie about a dog. And I remember that was the day I said, this is BS. This is ridiculous. This is not real. And no, I don't believe anyone listening to this. I think everybody listening to it is exactly like me. I think they're laughing and saying, this is nonsense. That story is not real. King Charles just dedicated a castle for his wayward son. Isn't Meghan moving with her husband? Well, now we're getting into gossip, Mystic Firefly. It would seem that as Gavin Newsom is considering making Meghan Markle the senatorial replacement for Dianne Feinstein, friends of Markle are saying that Harry, he's done. This marriage is over. In fact, the only thing more dead than Fox News is Harry Windsor and Meghan Markle's marriage. That's what they claim. So apparently that's why there's a castle, because when Harry finally makes the break and heads home, he's got a place to live. So there's that. Fox News hasn't been a reputable news source for a very long time, if ever. I'm not the least bit shocked. Abbey Road. I am, I'm sorry, Steph Sells Stuff by the Seashore. I am ashamed to say it took me a long time for me to get to the point of not being shocked. But the dog story shocked me. That was my eyes opening up. That was me awakening to reality. And then this, as soon as my husband said, did you know that Gavin Newsom is considering replacing Dianne Feinstein with Meghan Markle? I immediately said, that's BS. That's clickbait. It's not real. He said, well, it's on the Fox News site. I said, it's still clickbait. Fox News is an entertainment network by their own definition. Maybe, but they used to report news. Maybe they started calling themselves an entertainment network to try to avoid being sued, right? Meghan Markle hasn't the brains to make anything work. Ego can only get you so far. I think I don't want to get into royalty bashing. I think Meghan Markle has revealed herself, the truth about who she is. I think the way that she's treated her dad and sister, it's a complicated. I'm not saying that it was a simple problem to marry into the royal family of England. I'm not saying that, but I think lacking insight and lacking grace to understand how that would affect your sister, your brother, your dad, or whatever was short-sighted, right? It's quite short-sighted. And the sad part is that she came out and denied a relationship with her dad, saying that, she didn't spend all these idyllic times with her dad and whatnot. So he actually won an Emmy for lighting in like television or something. So he actually was working in Hollywood. He was well known. He was actually like one of the giants when it comes to like stage and whatnot. So she grew up on a lot of these movie sets and shows that he was in charge of the lighting for the movie and whatnot. She grew up on the stage sets. That's where she would go after school. So there's pictures and videos of them together. So it's really strange that she now has convinced herself that she only had her mom. She doesn't know where all the money came from. It's all news media. It's just as bad here in the UK. The BBC is a joke. I definitely think Fox News holds that position today. I watch alt news now if I watch anything at all. I've just gotten so disillusioned with how things are going in the real world that I don't even really watch much news. Meghan sold out her family, yet failed to recognize she could not marry her way into royalty as she had imagined. She simply wasn't prepared to be in the royal family. People that live in England or the British Isles, Great Britain, let me say Great Britain. People who live in Great Britain, they know how royalty lives, and the children lead a very different type of lifestyle. Although I think that William and Kate are trying to give their kids like a traditional upbringing. They don't have a bunch of nannies around. Kate drives them to school, all that. So, but historically, royal children have been raised by nannies, and they are being molded and groomed on how to interact with the public. And she was not prepared for that. She didn't know it. Neither was Diana. Diana in her book talked about how she living at the palace, all the light bulbs are like 40 watts, and that she had no idea what was going to happen to her biologically living in the dark like a vampire. And so, it's not what we think. I mean, we look at it, we see golden carriages and and glistening diamond tiaras, but that's a fraction of the reality of their time. The reality of their time, they're prisoners inside those magnificent walls. Yeah, oh, she is, Nancy. Absolutely. Yeah, she is. Diana's family are not royal, so it would have been far better to remain honorable as a young woman. There are protocols. I thought her family was royalty. Aren't they? Isn't her brother a I don't remember. I don't know. There's some type of her family is some obscure royal title, but I don't remember what it is. I don't know. Afternoon, Marit from Norway. Nannies and groomed because they have a certain legacy and role. That's what makes them royalty. Well, yeah, sure, Kate. And you know, this royal endowment, this wealth, this package of wealth, land, jewels, money, businesses, people, this royal endowment that is passed down, that just recently Charles inherited, and then soon it will be William, although he has kind of inherited it. It's unlike anything that a regular person would know what to do with or know how to manage. So it's a weird, it's a weird institution. Hey, Kiki, how are you this morning? You missed my rant, Kiki. I woke up Sunday morning hollering and yelling like any good Southern girl. Yeah, Foxnews made me mad, Kiki. Okay. All right, people. I am Mystic. It's the British Royals for you. Having a mistress is expected. Well, I mean, so the Queen's first husband, he gave the kiss of approval for her to fool around with Charles behind Diana's back. So I think it is. I don't know if it's expected, but I definitely think it's not frowned on. I think the royals do whatever they want to do. Oh, I don't know, Mystic. It may come as a shock, but I do not, in fact, follow the royal family. That is, I kind of look in, peek in. I like the pictures. It's very beautiful and, pretty. But on Twitter, I'll look and see what's going on. But I don't really have much interest in what they're doing. But I do think, without a doubt, Meghan Markle and Harry Windsor are very interesting. That is a very interesting coupling psychologically. So I do follow them. I think it's very odd. I think it's curious what they've done to themselves. They've really been their own worst enemies, I think. I like the pageantry too, Kate. Yeah, that's what in fact, when Diana and Charles married, it was like 4 a.m. here in Texas. And I remember setting my alarm and getting up in the middle of the night to go watch the royal wedding because I wanted to see her dress and I wanted to see the inside of the chapel and all that. And it was magnificent. And my dress was actually quite similar to Diana's. So kind of. The sleeves on my dress were very similar to hers. So I adore the photos of the Kennedys. Yeah, that's America's royalty. It says Diana had more royal blood than the Queen or Prince Charles, English or Scottish. Are we being conspiracy theories this morning, Nancy? Yes, I watched him getting married. It was amazing. Sure, Nancy Drew. Absolutely. Well, I didn't even know who Harry was. I didn't know who that boy was. And then in seconds, her sister puts out a picture where she and Meghan are sitting on a little fence in front of the castle. It's pretty funny. All right. So rant is over, people. I just had to rant against Fox News. I couldn't take it. I can't take it anymore. The foolishness that is the American politics is embarrassing. and I had to get it out of my system so I could finish my day being happy and healthy. All right. Hey, Lulu Bell. So if you guys missed the rant, you got to go to the beginning of the video. But I didn't do it. We did not have any singing chipmunks this morning. Oh, no. I woke up, saw the headlines, and I said, damn it. And so I had to rant. Let's go back to my first question today. Can you talk some about what Gonzo mentioned about Mother God cult in the Salida area where Suzanne Morphew went missing? Well, in fact, yes. Mother God, Love Always Wins cult. She died in a little house there just outside of Moffat. And they embalmed her basically and painted her eyes onto her eyelids so it looked like her eyes were open, and painted her face with glitter and hung Christmas lights on her. I'm not kidding. There's video to prove it. No, I do not think that Love Always Wins cult members done Suzanne in. No, I don't believe that. That is simply just not true. Why would they? They're pacifists, they're drug heads, they don't want to be bothered, they want to be left alone to just be at peace with Mother Nature. That's all they want. This is not the same type of cult as some of the more violent stuff that we've seen, I think. It's just a really mixed up, confused group of people. And she was an absolute certifiable narcissist. And when she got drunk, she was abusive and horrible. And the juxtaposed position being between being abused and being loved, it got all of her drugged followers to do her bidding, to follow her blindly and do it. And all she wanted was someone to make her sandwiches, someone to rub her back. She just wanted someone to love her, to be there for her. It's a common tale. I mean, there was nothing extraordinary about the woman other than the bizarre conditions that were found by Saguache Sheriff's Department when they went into the house, and there she was, lit up like a Christmas tree, like literally. So no, I don't think no, that is not. This was a setup, just like the stories that Barry told about stolen money and bank accounts set up online in her name with Jeff Libler's name attached. Do you think that wasn't to try to point the finger at Jeff Libler? I'm going to tell you straight up. When I heard that Jeff Libler's name was attached to the bank accounts, I said, "Ooh, I would be all up in the middle of Libler's life trying to see if he did it. Or what if Libler's wife did it? A woman with 6 kids and a husband screwing around from Indiana. You think I wouldn't be mad as a hornet? Oh yeah. Yes, I would. And I would be taking steps to protect my brood." So it's pretty I think that the Facebook friending of all these men, the pen that recorded Suzanne talking to Libler, all of this was there. Why in the world did Barry take the recording pen out of Barry's truck and put it in Suzanne's underwear basket? Why did he do that? Because he knew it would be found. He knew that it would be found. She was missing. They would be going through all of her things, looking for clues. Remember, he's not just a hunter, he's a tracker. And so he understands this phenomenon of breadcrumbs in an investigation. And he allegedly orchestrated these scenarios that would lead away from him. Right? He left these breadcrumbs that suggested all these other scenarios rather than the real one. And what you're going to find here in about 30 minutes, I'm going to be doing a live that really does get me to a place where I believe there was in fact a fight in the bathroom, and that they are going to find, if Suzanne's body was the full body there at the burial site, they're going to find a broken hyoid bone, which is going to mean that she was absolutely choked by very powerful hands. And so that's all I'm going to say right there, because I'm fixing to do a live that is just Suzanne Morphew. Okay. This is my Foxnews rant. Barry isn't just the brute musclehead. He's a conning and manipulative man. No, Barry is not dumb. No, I think he's a smart person. No, he's not dumb. He's not stupid. He's scary. Scary Barry. Didn't he try to blame sheriff's office for stealing $69,000? Yeah, he did that. He made a lot. Look, he blamed the animals. And here's the big one that people forget. Barry Morphew blamed God for Suzanne's disappearance. He literally blamed God. He said that this was God's work because Suzanne, I guess, had the affair. So Barry has a lot of people that he tried to point. In fact, I did a video, a couple of years ago. I did a video going through his statement, how many different people that Barry pointed the finger at. He pointed the finger at so many different people. He was always trying to get the cops to look in other directions. And again, I want to say this again. This is critically important. The story with the bicycle on the hill, the bicycle helmet down the road, that story, that a bicycle abandoned, wrecked on the side of this hill, and the hat down the road. And there was even someone, nobody talks about this anymore, but listen, there was someone who called the tip line and said, "Oh my God, I saw her. I saw that lady from Salida who's missing. I was in town and I got out of my car to go into the post office, and I looked up and I saw her, and she was in like an SUV, and you could see her face, and she was saying, 'Help me, help me. Someone abducted her. I saw it.'" That was called into the helpline, y'all. No one talks about that anymore, but it was. So we have the bicycle on the side of the hill. We have the helmet down the opposite, wrong direction. And now we have somebody calling into the tip line going, "Oh yeah, I totally saw her. I saw her when she was being abducted." Okay, so you're going to the mailbox at 4 a.m.? Really? Why would you go to the mailbox at 4 a.m.? I don't understand that. But anyway, so we are given these breadcrumbs that say she was abducted. Oh, Suzanne, whoever has you, I just want you to come home. I'll give them whatever they want, whatever. There's no limits what I'm willing to give them to let you go. If you can hear me, Suzanne, if you can hear me. You remember all that BS? Okay, so it's these breadcrumbs. It's not a full dialogue. It's not a full narrative. It's just these little breadcrumbs, and your brain fills in the missing pieces with a story. It's the Gestalt thought. So you're thinking, "Oh my God, somebody abducted her. Oh my God, she's been kidnapped. She's being held ransom." Right? That's the whole story we're giving. But there's a problem, y'all. There's a problem. Up in the mansion on the hill, it's not really a mansion. I've been there. It's a nice house. It's a big house, but it's not a mansion. But up on the mansion on the hill, if you go into the living room and you peer into the family fireplace, you're going to see where Suzanne's diary and her Al-Anon workbook has been burned. Oh, okay. So now so now my brain has filled it in. She was on her bike ride, even though she never went on a bike ride from her home. She never got on her bicycle and rode around the neighborhood. And I know the reason why. I'll tell you why. Because the hills there are demonic. Like if you were on a bicycle in this neighborhood, it's not only demonic trying to get up the hill, it's demonic trying to go down the hill. They're very steep. It's rock. It's gravel roads. Who wants to ride their bicycle on gravel roads? Do you? Do you want to ride on gravel, crushed up granite so that when you fall off, your legs are going to get cut to hell and back? She did not ride her bicycle in the neighborhood. In fact, she kept her bicycle in her car, in the back end of her car. She would drive up to the little parking area, take her bike out, and then go for her ride on the trails. Nobody mentioned that, did they? But Miles mentions it. And then her friends told law enforcement. So right there, we got another lie. Also, when you go where Tyson Draper first sees Barry in the truck, he says, I think that was Barry. Where the bicycle is left, it's nearly impossible to figure out how the bicycle could have ended up there in a wreck. It doesn't make any sense. And it certainly would not have gone straight down the hill. It would have had to have been on the diagonal. So the bicycle would have been like on its side, right? But the way that the bicycle is found, it's found perfectly, front tire straight down, almost like somebody tied a rope or something on the back tire to try to get it to go as far as down the hill as they could before it fell over, right? So the bicycle position is wrong. The roads where this is at, imagining that you're on a bicycle either coming down the hill or preparing to go up the hill, turning the corner, the bicycle's never going to land like that. It's never going to be in that position. That minute that they saw the bike, it took them about 5 minutes to go, that's not right. Why would the bicycle be in that position? It really just looks like somebody just pushed it down, like rolled it down the hill, not even threw it, not even toss it, but just rolled it straight down. It's weird. So we're left with all of these images, these little breadcrumbs, bits of information to give us this story that Suzanne is on a nice little neat, leisurely little bicycle ride in the morning. By the way, Suzanne was not a morning person. She was one to sit in the backyard and drink coffee or tea or whatever and just enjoy the morning. She's not up running around like a little chipmunk, Barry, but she's off on this nice little, early morning bicycle ride, and magically somebody abducts her. And before they drove away with her, they had to drive back up to the castle on the hill to burn all of her books, right? The kidnapper had to burn the books to try to make everybody think that Barry did it. You see how dumb it is? So on the one hand, while he thinks, okay, well, I'm really smart, allegedly, I'm gonna set up these clues that the investigators can find, all paths leading away from, scary Barry. In reality, he made some really critical errors, like some really illogical errors. Like, why would a kidnapper burn her books? What's that about? Oh, well, we don't have, Miles says, well, they got cameras. There's cameras all over the place out here outside. So we're going to know who took her. No, 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 no. We're not going to know who took her because it was Suzanne's own hands that disconnected the cameras. Sure she did. Sure, she walked around carrying a ladder, went up on the ladder to unplug the cam. Yeah, I believe that. Sure, that happened. Stop it. That's dumb. No, it didn't. That didn't happen. So there seems to be opportunity for reasonable doubt, but was there really? Because there's a lot of things that go, what? This story is silly. That isn't real. All right. And so the books being burned is exactly the problem that makes the abduction story wrong. Didn't happen, Barry. It just didn't happen that way. I know you liked that idea. I know you wanted that idea, but that is not what happened, because no abductor in the world is going to drive up to your house and know where Suzanne's diary and books are kept and then take them and burn them in your fireplace to set you up. That is not happening. Hey, Martin. Barry said that a cop saw a mountain lion pass his patrol car the night the bike was found. This was after Barry asked, was it a lion? It turns out that it wasn't a mountain lion, unless they carry their prey up the mountain and on for 50 miles and then bury their prey in a wide open field under a tree. Why do you think Barry would make this story up about his beautiful wife? I have no idea, Martin. I couldn't tell you. But it's nonsense, isn't it? It's nonsense that Suzanne is riding her bicycle either down the hill or up the hill, around the corner, around the bend, and then somehow magically she goes flying off the bicycle and the bicycle rolls straight down the hill, not on a diagonal, not flying through the air with inertia. No, just walk that bicycle right up to the edge and just let it roll straight down the hill. It's dumb. It's dumb. Barry, you should have been an engineer. Then you would have thought about these things, Barry. So Martin brings up exactly this important clue that all of these other stories don't work. The magic bank accounts that were opened online, but they were opened with the $69,000 cash that came out of his safe. Why? Why is Suzanne going to have $69,000 cash to make her great getaway to another country untraceable? But now she's going to make a deposit into an online bank. So now everybody will be able to track her? Does that make sense, Barry? Why would she want to be tracked? She's making her great getaway, right? She stole that $69,000 cash, which opens a lot of doors, and it's untraceable right up until you put it in the bank online. Then it becomes traceable. So with the discovery of her body, now that's another piece, that's another clue, the location and all that. It's another clue that the stories don't work. The reasonable doubt is no longer there. No, she did not steal your $69,000 and open up an online bank account. Take the time to transfer that $69,000. Look, Barry, she would have to take that $69,000 and deposit it into a bank. And then she would have to do a wire transfer from the bank, the brick and mortar bank, into the online bank. Barry, why is she doing that if she's trying to run away to another country, never to be seen again? Why? So the the breadcrumbs that have been laid out that are for reasonable doubt, should he ever get arrested, allegedly, it's all gone now. That none of that is believable, because this whole time she's been down in Moffett, buried under a tree. Is that so? Let's say it's some cracked out, methed out, crazed drug fiend. And they abduct her and they kill her. Why in the world would a cracked out, drugged out dope fiend look for the one marker in the greatest surrounding area of just plain of lethal flatness? There's one growing green tree right in the middle of all this nothingness. So the cracked out, methed out guy is going to go, yeah, that's where I want to go. I want to go to the one place and bury her there because, well, you know, it's honorable. It's a nice place. That's what I want to do. No, of course not. That's just dumb. AK tells us the truck GPS data does show Barry went there. Maybe he drove his bobcat thing. Maybe the cat got her. What do you think, Barry? Scary Barry. The cat get her? We are forgetting something, people. We are forgetting that Shoho does in fact drive, doesn't she? Shoho, who was on a mission to steal packages off the porch of the would-be castle on the hill. Didn't Shoho have a car? Could someone tell me what kind of car Shoho drives or drove at the time? What do y'all think? Allegedly. Flung her on his back like an elk. I don't know. Friend of mine did a test with a bike going down the ravine. He did 10 attempts and not once did it go down the embankment. That bike was tossed. Yeah. There's no it was literally perpendicular to the ground, Martin. It was completely perpendicular to the ground. Yeah, that was not a bike wreck. That was a just push it off the hill. Yep. Hey, free bird, welcome. I'm on a fly, free bird, yeah. All right. Remember, Barry put his phone on airplane mode. Barry had a lot of control over the telematics in his truck and also his phone. Yeah. To be fair, let me say this. The cell service is sketchy. Okay, this is a place that's really off the beaten path. I mean, they are isolated. This is God's country. It is as beautiful as anything in your mind that you can imagine. Like I pulled over. So if you go up to where their house is, you cannot see the neighbors. I've heard people say, oh, it's a subdivision. It's a subdivision. Okay, well, sort of. It's a subdivision for the rich and famous. There's a handful of houses there. It's not many. And the lots are enormous. And when you're there, you don't know that there's anybody nearby. You don't see any houses. There's nothing. You can hear a little bit of the road. You can't really hear the highway very well, though, because the river that's in front of the house is always singing. Like it's really loud. It's really pretty. It's nice. It's beautiful. Perfect. So you go up the final road and you can either go left or go right. I think you go left into, I'm trying to remember now. It's been a long time since I was there. I think you go left and then you pass by the trash can where Shoho and Barry met. Love at first sight. And you go past the trash bin and then you see like these, like a post that's marking where a gate is. And then you kind of come through and go down a little bit. And then now you can see their house and you go forward and you're on this circular drive, right? So when you come out to the right, there's an open area there that you can just park. And there's a big rock there. And I sat up on that big rock for, I don't know, 2 hours maybe, taking pictures and just sort of enjoying it because it's really beautiful. It's really, really, really relaxing and it's just amazing. So there's a lot of problems with the bicycle story. The roads are not paved. The roads are, when I was there, the roads were like a crushed granite rock, gravel, like with rough rocks. There was some gravel too, but had, sharp rocks in it. This would not be a fun bike ride, and I don't know what it would do to the tires of your bicycle either. Now, if you go further, I think when you come out, if you go further, you do end up on blacktop, I believe, but it's on down past that house where he was renting, I think. I don't know. I don't remember in my mind right now. Why was her phone and Barry's phone active near the bank's bike site and helmet site between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. that morning, while Barry saw her asleep in her bed before he left for Brimfield? It's magic, Martin. It's the magic of Barry. Don't you know that? Yeah, there's a lot of fantastical thoughts in this story of the bike ride, the morning trip to Broomfield on Mother's Day, the girls being out of town on that specific weekend is just, and don't forget that Suzanne's brother said that Mother's Day and Father's Day, this was a family that really celebrated those 2 days. A lot of some families don't really make it a big deal. And then other families do. They have gifts. Maybe they have like a special dessert or they have a cookout. And Suzanne's, her family, they did celebrate Mother's Day and Father's Day like it was a big, regular, real holiday. That would be like saying, well, I'm going to go work on Christmas morning and the girls will be out on a camping trip and they'll be back Christmas morning, like Christmas evening. We'll do Christmas when they get home. That's what it would be like. It's silly. And Andy said that was sort of one of his first big question marks was, why? Why did they do that on Mother's Day? That doesn't fit. He showed pictures of previous Mother's Days where they all got together and, celebrated. So it's just doesn't work, does it, Martin? When you get into the real details, it just doesn't work. And someone has been pushing this narrative that the texting between Suzanne and Melinda, her sister, that big announcement to Melinda that Barry was abrasive and abusive and that she was still expected to respect Barry. She unveiled this picture of domestic abuse and potential violence. She did say to her sister, the sneezes always come in 3. It's very weird. Sorry, that was Bill sneezing. She did say to Melinda that he had been abusive to her. He says he's abrasive. I still have to show respect. Oh yeah. And Barry has been abusive to me. This was in the text message, right? And the text message was so disturbing to Melinda that she ended up deleting it. That's pretty disturbing. That if there's something that is so uncomfortable for you, you want to make it go away, right? So it sounds like there was this culmination, and the narrative has been May 9th, that there's this culmination of disagreement with Barry, fight with Barry, and then this proclamation to her sister that she's leaving. That's an abusive relationship. She's not staying anymore, right? That is consistent with what we know about human behavior, that while you're having trouble in your marriage, you may be commiserating with your friends. You may be talking, and saying to the family members that live in the home, I'm so sorry, we're disagreeing, we're not getting along very well. But you don't begin telling extended family until there's been a decision for divorce. You don't begin calling people and saying, hey, just going to let you know, we're looking at a divorce. Things have not been working for a long time. I know this is upsetting, but this is what I'm going to be doing. Right? That is something that you don't do until you really are there. You've made your decision. And so people have been thinking this was on the morning of May the 9th that she has this conversation with Melinda, and it was not the morning of the 9th. It was the morning of the 8th. The conversation with Melinda starts at 9 a.m. and goes just a little bit after noon. So that is, Martin, is it the night of the 8th where they go to the walk on Fooses Creek? I don't find it odd. Keep trying. I've had texts before that I didn't like what it said. It bothered me, and I didn't want to have to look at it every time I checked my messages, and I deleted those messages. I don't think that's odd. Yes. That's what I think, Martin. I think that the conversation with Melinda, those are though that really is probably the last communication that was authentic, even though there were these weird things that happened, like resetting her password on Facebook and then doing all these friend requests to men. That was out of character with her, and it didn't seem like something that she would even think about doing. She's in the middle of thinking about leaving and starting a new life. Why in the world is she complicating it by messaging people she knew back in 1985, right? So even the conversation with Libler, it doesn't sound right. When you see it, you see what was said, it doesn't seem right. Doesn't seem right. Well, Cass P, he graduated from Purdue, and for a while he had a really successful business. Now, what happened that caused this cascade of failures, right? That ultimately led with him running off to Colorado. I don't know, but there definitely was a period of time where he was generating high income, he was acquiring assets, and things seemed to be going very, very well. The family was very happy. Something happened. Something went wrong. Something happened. Wonder what Troy is talking about these days. I don't know. How easy it was for her to be. Yeah, well, and that's the problem with a controlling person, right? When you have a domestic abuse situation and one person is controlling everything, the money and communication and everything, it's easy for them to get in and manipulate things. Barry is smart, but he's undisciplined and greedy and egocentric. But remember, Kate, there was a time when he was highly disciplined, right? He never would have been athletically as successful as he was without discipline. So there was a period of time he knew discipline. He knew what it was like to follow a plan. And when he's hunting, when he's tracking, he's disciplined. He's methodical. You're letting your dislike of what we think he did, you're letting your dislike color the actual assessment of what he may be capable of. I don't think he's dumb. I think he's highly capable of being organized and methodical. Something went very wrong in Indiana, Martin. Yes, me and Martin agree, but what was it? Do you know? Because I don't have any idea. Think about how beautiful and light Suzanne is. One look inside Colorado home doesn't look like Suzanne. Yeah, I said that, Kate. It's very masculine. It's a very, very masculine house. Doesn't look anything like her old Southern kind of conventional home in Indiana. That was a beautiful area. Even inside, it's very cold and hard. There's not a lot of luxury there, right? That women typically bring to the table. But Melinda said, in all fairness, Melinda said that Suzanne said she was excited and that she picked out the furniture. So Mystic Firefly brings up a very good point. Suzanne had set up an LLC and Barry took control of it in February. Yep. Martin said, just let's say searching for young girls in Salida. Ugh. Well, you know my thoughts, Martin. There's more than one hill, right? The bicycle went down the hill. I'm still not convinced. I'm not gonna say anything, but I know that is a far, far, far reach. But that voice, every time I hear that voice, that face pops in my mind. And to drag these girls across a river, you've got to be strong. You've got to be strong. Yeah, Kate. Kate said, no, Barry let Suzanne think she picked out the furniture. Yeah, it's not a very cushy, luxurious type getup. Even the bedroom is very, looks like, I'm going to say this is terrible. It looks like a hotel room, doesn't it? It looks like a hotel room, a B&B room. Our own bedrooms, we tend to make more, I don't know, welcoming. There's nothing personal there other than the big animal that Barry kills. I'm telling you, Miss Firefly, I can't shake it. I've tried. I know people think I'm insane. I know people laugh at me. I know. I get it. I'm good with that. I own it. It's unlikely. It's unlikely. But gosh, there's something about it. You put together both of those sketches and lay it on top of each other and tell me who you're looking at. I did it before. I'm not going to do it again, but just do it. It's so hard to explain away. It feels like you're being punked, right? It feels funny. On May the 1st, 2020, Laura and Susie celebrated Suzanne's birthday at Laura's house. Suzanne was very healthy and positive as she showed them her new mountain bike and talked about Mallory receiving an award at school. She spoke about doing the financial books for Barry and how they would serve as a bridge between them. So what is your interpretation of that, Martin? What do you think she meant by that it would serve as a bridge between them? Do you, well, I don't want to force you to come up, but if you want to come up and sort of tell your part, I'll put a link, but please don't feel like you're obligated. You can just type your answer is good, whichever one you want. Sometimes easier to talk than to. So I think sorry, I was putting my headphones on. I think this idea that, oh, good, Martin's here. So thankfully he'll be able to interpret for us. And you guys are in for a treat because Martin is one very lovely mountain.
1 second now.
So let me, okay, I haven't taken down the,
I just have to,
uh-oh, he's gone. he X'd out of the wrong thing. Hold on, he'll be back. All right. So now we'll be able to see him when he comes back up. So on the one hand, I say, well, and don't look, for those of you that really hadn't been through a lot of this discovery and whatnot, there is a text where Suzanne says that anything that Barry talks about with his business, that it's very shady, right? That's very sketchy, whenever the business comes up. So I think that this comment made about doing the books and that the books serve as a bridge between them, in some ways it's almost like I don't know what Martin thinks about it, but is it that will keep him in control, that because she knows the truth about the books that he'll behave? I don't know. All right, you ready, Martin? All right, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Can you hear me?
I can, but I don't see your picture. I wanted to see the cat.
Well, that should be there. Just 1 second.
Martin's mountain lion has long blonde hair. It's beautiful.
All right. Okay. I don't know why that's not coming up.
I don't know. Maybe it's one of my settings. Maybe I'm got a problem with my settings or something.
Okay. Yeah, what I was going to say about that, Jules, was that basically she was openly discussing that she was leaving Barry at that party.
Okay. Yeah.
And this was just a week before. Do you know what I mean? That was May 1st.
Yeah.
And I believe on May 8th is when, and she passed in May 8th. So we're talking just 1 week basically beforehand, that she was openly discussing that she was separating from Barry.
Yeah.
Now, after that, if you look back on if you've D to Z there, whenever you want to look at it, you don't have to look at it now, but if you look back, you will see that there was no communications between Barry and Suzanne for nearly 2 months on the phone, between the end of March, the beginning of March to...
Yeah, I was thinking it was like the end of February, but maybe March. Yeah.
No, it's the early part of March to I think it was around the 10th or the 9th or something like that of March, and then to the 4th of May. And then there was a little bit of backwards and forwards, and then the next day, Suzanne dropped Macy off to Gunnison.
And is that on the 5th?
That was on the 5th, yeah.
Okay.
So on the 5th, then Barry stayed out that night. While Suzanne was in Gunnison, Barry was digging in with his bobcat in the woods, just as you enter into Puma Pad.
Yeah.
He was in the woods there just for about 10 minutes or so, digging. So he was probably getting rid of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Burying his, stuff at that stage.
Yeah.
And so that evening, Barry stayed out. He never came home. So hence the next morning, you got the "I'm done," which was the Wednesday from Suzanne.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
There was a lot of text messages, missed calls from Barry to Suzanne. She was ignoring 6 in a row, I think.
Yes.
She was totally ignoring him. And then she texted Macy and said, "I miss you already, blah, blah, blah." Yeah. And then she sent Barry the "I'm done, I could care less." Do you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
One that ended civilly. She had enough at that stage. So then you got from Barry, then was all the suicide texts, sending them, which he deleted, and they found them. So he's sending all these suicide texts to Suzanne. Then Suzanne goes on a bike ride at that evening around 4 o'clock, which is her normal time. She probably did go an hour or two earlier than that, but as you said earlier, yeah, Suzanne biked in on trails, and she used to probably bike over to the the Ritters, you know what I mean, for coffee and things like that. But she
Yeah.
no interested in going on gravel roads.
Right.
And but anyway, she went to do her bike ride, and in that evening, she was in Barry's truck, and Barry was driving like a lunatic with her in the truck.
Really? So
Yes.
I did not know that.
Well, nobody really knows that, you know what I mean?
So that was the 6th or the night of the 5th. No, he
That
didn't
was
come home the night of the 5th. It was like the 6th or
this
the
was the
7th.
6th. This was the 6th, the evening of the 6th. Now he
Okay.
stayed
Wow.
home that night. He stayed home that night. And then the next day he went off, and she rang him, I think in the evening. He was over, he was in around Salida, he'd get a new tire for his Bobcat, and he had a few little jobs he went to around Salida. And then he went to Tailwinds, and then off to George Davis's house, and he was in the gym in George Davis's gym. He had a gym beside the house, and and that was the cutoff. We don't know what happened after that, but we know he didn't go home because his Bobcat and telematics and whatever that we were able to tell that he didn't actually go home. And but that night, Suzanne, early hours of the morning, she composed her grievances.
Yes.
Probably really angry when she was doing this, and she wrote down everything. And what we see in that list of grievances is only excerpts. It's not the full Monty. It's only a portion of what, if you read it in the AA, it says excerpts of these 60 lines of grievances.
Now, do you believe that the cops got the full thing, or do you think that was a breakdown in the retrieval?
No, the cops have it. The cops have it. Now,
okay.
Barry, she sent that to Barry.
She sent the list.
This was the text. If you read it in the affidavit, it says Barry received the worst text he'd ever got on Friday, and he deleted it. He deleted the worst text he ever got, and he deleted it off his phone.
Yeah,
that's all we hear in the AA, right?
Yes.
And then we have Grusing kind of saying, "But wasn't the worst text wasn't the argument? Wasn't it on Wednesday?" And then Barry's kind of, him and Han, you know what I mean? Because Grusing should have said nothing. Just let Barry talk. Do you know what I mean? About what happened Friday.
Absolutely, yeah.
But he's cut in and he said, but it wasn't a Wednesday. And that was the end of that conversation. You know what I mean? It never got any further than that. But basically what happened was she sent that early in the morning, probably before 7 o'clock, might be even 5 o'clock in the morning. Wherever he was and whoever he was with, he got that message very early that morning. And then, so the next thing is, what happened after that is she texted him back around. I think they had a conversation. I think they did have a phone conversation. I'm not 100% sure, but she texted back anyway and said, "Sorry about Rob Mazzell. I didn't get a chance to do that invoice, but basically, like she was just saying, I will do your invoicing whenever you need me to. Do you know what I mean? In the future."
Yeah.
Basically saying the same thing. I'm leaving you. This is it. I am going. Believe me, I will do your invoicing, but I am leaving you.
Yeah.
This is what she was saying in that Rob Mazzell. That was at around time was that around 8 o'clock in the morning. I think that was
It was,
Rob
yeah.
Mazzell. Yeah, and then at 9, then she has the conversation with Melinda, her sister.
Yeah.
Now we only have a small portion of that as well because Melinda actually deleted some of it because it was so. She just had to. She felt that she had to. It was just so upsetting, I think. But I'm not sure if law enforcement have all of that. But the thing is, that conversation was the last conversation that we know that was genuinely Suzanne was alive at that time.
Yeah.
Because Barry deleted everything to do with separation, divorce, all of that. He tried to get rid of, we've seen it. You know what I mean? We've seen it. Every mention of divorce. No, there was no divorce. There was no mention. We're happily married.
Oh,
blah, blah, blah.
they were sharing food on a one plate,
Yes.
Martin. They were
Yes.
madly in love.
Yes, steak on a sharing steak on a plate.
Yep.
In sex and in bed by 8. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could make it up. Do you know?
Yeah. Silly.
Go for romantic walks and think. She was afraid of her life to be alone with him. The only reason that she was alone with him was because he must have promised her that if Macy went away with Mallory, that they could sit down and discuss the separation. And what happened was she done that. She brought Macy off to Gunnison, came back, and she was ready. She's probably excited that at least we're going to get somewhere and get this dealt with. And he stays out all night with his show-ho. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And so then you got sorry, I'm after losing myself there for a second. So we're back on May. The messages with Melinda. So that went on for half an hour, backwards and forwards for half an hour. She spilled her guts out to Melinda. And that was definitely the last proof of life.
That's what I think too. Yeah.
And I believe then, not 2.5 hours later, that Barry came home and killed her in the bedroom. And he came home. She barricaded herself in that bedroom. She probably had a gun. Or she was trying to load it. Well, I'd say she probably had a gun, and the gun had no firing pin. The gun was probably left there purposely in that. They had a gun case under their bed.
Oh, I knew about the gun with no firing pin. I heard that, but I didn't connect that to. Wow. Oh my God, that's so fun.
Can you imagine if she's there and he's coming in there and she's trying to shoot to stop him? If he's coming in like a lunatic, screaming and shouting, trying to bust the door down, and he comes in and sees her pulling the trigger and nothing happens. Do you know?
The terror.
The terror. Yeah, exactly. So now I have no proof. I have no proof of this. That's what I just said there is just my feeling. Do you know what I mean? So educated. Let's say my educated guesstimate, because they were at close quarters when she died. They were at close quarters. Like, I said it to Kurt one night. I said, Kurt, this thing about the strangulation, I said, those are definitely nails that are somebody trying to defend themselves from being strangled.
Absolutely, on Barry's arm.
And I said to Kurt, I says, you should try that now with your better half and see and document this. And we laughed about it, but he did it anyway. And then he was sending me the pictures, the photographs. She was digging in the nails where you would do.
Right at the same space.
And he didn't tell her. He didn't tell her where to do it. She just automatically done it. And that is where you would get them, because on the backs, trying to get the nails in on the back of the hands with the hands around the throat. And then the only part in front of you is his face and his arm, upper arms.
Yeah.
And so I believe wholeheartedly that's what happened. He then arrives back in Tailwinds.
He arrives back where?
In Tailwinds, about an hour and a half later. He's missing for about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
He parks his truck, trailer and Bobcat down in Tailwinds, unhitches it, drives the truck, but I don't think he goes directly home. He goes up the 285 and does a little detour around and comes up into Maysville and home because he wants to avoid the camera outside the Shell gas station.
Ah.
And comes back the same way. Now the mileage adds up perfectly. There's missing mileage, and it adds up perfectly. So then he goes back anyway to Tailwinds after he does the deed, and then he goes directly from Tailwinds. He loads up and drives to County Road 105, which is the beach site.
Yeah.
And he stays there. As soon as he gets there, he rings a couple of people. And the people he's ringing, I think, are very important now to what we know. That's all I'm going to say. But the people he's calling after he's done the deed, from what I believe, are very important to where Suzanne was found. And that's all I'm going to say about that bit. But there's a few phone calls made. But if you see, there's all the calls that are made from Barry's phone to Suzanne. There's 12 calls made between that time and May 10th, when he makes his very final call on the way home from Broomfield. He makes 12 calls consecutively, right?
Yeah.
And they all last for 4 seconds. 4 seconds or less, apart from one call, which is at 7:06 on Friday night, which is very strange. Barry's 3 miles away from Barry's phone is 3 miles away from Suzanne's phone, and they're traveling west along Highway 50.
And that's the night of the 7th?
That's the night of the 8th. Sorry, did I say 7th?
Okay, so the night of the 8th.
At 7:06. At 7:06 p.m.
Okay, so the two phones, Suzanne's phone and Barry's phone, are 3 miles apart, and they're traveling in unison.
West, yeah, they're traveling west, home towards Puma Path, basically. So, now that is odd. That whole thing is odd, really. That 7:06 thing. It's too long for me to go into it here, but basically, all the other calls to Suzanne's phone are 2 seconds, 3 seconds, just enough to get her answer phone or to make a connection. Do you understand me?
I do. Yeah.
So so when you're looking at that now, you say, "Oh, there's a phone call here." Oh, sure, look, they're talking all night. Suzanne's home and she's on her internet and she's doing this and she's buying clothes and all that, this rubbish, like. But that's not the case.
Yeah.
Now on this, then there's a change just in the evening time when there's this pizza thing, this moonlight pizza.
The pizza that never was.
The pizza that never was, and the photo that was taken by Suzanne and sent to the girls on their trip that nobody has ever seen.
Yes.
Which was another kind of a proof of life thing. But where is it? Why? If it's that, it's very important, Iris. Where is that? You know what I mean? Show us that photograph.
Yeah.
So, so then after that, there's a call to Jean Mormon that evening.
Again, very strange, right? Very strange and out of character. Yeah.
Out of character. That is like, anger. That's an anger, blaming everybody now. He's even blaming Jean.
Yeah.
And he's told Jean, your money's paid. You mean your money's paid back, the 100,000 basically. And you can tell your sons and whatever. And so then after that, you've got a change of Suzanne's password. Suzanne's password is then changed after that phone call. And then there's 23 Facebook requests go out.
Wow. Yeah. And see, that is something that other discussions about this have not brought out. And I think it's
No,
critical. I think it's critical for people to recognize the password change right before these bizarre 23 requests
100%.
for friends. You've got to understand, why would Suzanne need to change her password to get on her Facebook? She wouldn't need to. It's an automatic sign in. So why
Jules,
did that happen? And I think we probably know why it happened.
Jules, way at the beginning, when I was putting the posts on your page and whoever's page 3 years ago, one of my posts was that that Suzanne would have been killed on the Friday.
Yes.
That was my timeline. My own idea. But the reason I had that was because I knew how much stuff had to be done. Like, there was all the tidying up, finding all the evidence that Suzanne might have had in the house, diaries and whatever. He had cameras, he had those mini cams, he had game cams set up all over the place. Getting all that taken down, getting it hidden, getting it destroyed, putting it into the truck, bringing it to Broomfield, taking the clothes, any clothes that was contaminated, bringing them to Broomfield to get them washed and then put into dumpsters and all that sort of stuff. So I knew that there was going to be, it had to be the day before. But when he was arrested and we found out that law enforcement believed that it was on the Saturday at this particular time, and he was chasing them around, I was with everyone else, I was, I accepted it, But when myself and Kurt started doing the AK, started doing the working together, compiling this E to Z, when we got to near the end of it, not when it was finished, but nearly finished, I was going through and I said to Kurt, Kurt, I've got a problem here. I don't believe she was killed on the Saturday. And he said that bullshit. He said, bullshit. He said, tell me, prove it to me. So I basically said what I said, and we put it up on our Discord, and people, for everyone to pull it apart. And now there's strong evidence to say, they had this photograph, and you had this all these texts to Lippler, and there's different phone calls when he's at DSI and his phone is ringing her phone, and there's lots of different things. But he had the account for all the phones. He had the account for Mallory's, Macy's, and Suzanne's, and his own phones. So he could change the passwords because he had the account.
That's exactly right.
It was a group. And he also had a device, whether it was a device that he could use simultaneously with his own phone. Like Kurt would talk about this till the cows come home, and he would explain to you. But basically, there are apps that they're like parental apps that you can operate phones. You can actually operate the cameras, front camera, back camera. You can wipe the phone clean. There's so many things you could do with these apps.
Absolutely, yeah. And I had said a long time that her phone was, there was some sort of a net nanny software on her phone. He knew everything there was about that affair with Lippler. I believe that.
100%. Like she couldn't understand. She thought that he was spying on her in the bonus room, basically. Because something he said, he knew. She said it's in the grievances that saw me FaceTiming in bonus room, right?
Yep.
Now, she felt that she was being watched in certain parts. Felt uncomfortable in the garage. She felt uncomfortable with the stuffed animals and the heads or whatever, that she's being watched. So she knew she was being watched, or she subconsciously thought she was being watched.
Yeah.
So when that is happening, you can guarantee he was watching every move. He knew about this a long, long time ago. It's going to come out soon. I don't know when, but myself and Kurt are going to spill a lot more beans. But you would see there's an awful lot more of this about the affairs. You know, like most of there's a lot to say that Barry was having affairs in Indiana. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now I don't. One doesn't cancel out the other. You know what I mean? But we know that. I don't blame her. Do you know, one bit, because she was left there. You know, at home on her own. She got coddled into going to a new start in Colorado, and immediately she got there, she realized there was no change. It was actually worse. She was totally isolated.
Yeah. So the breakdown of the marriage is happening in Indiana, right?
Yeah.
And so Barry has this problem. For some reason, his businesses began to fail. It was a cascading event. Other business people were talking about him and his rage problems, and that he was out of control. And there was just like this overall breakdown. But Barry had this problem that he was used to living in the lap of luxury.
Yes.
And Suzanne's money was going to sort of give him an access to try to restart his businesses somewhere else. He couldn't be without Suzanne, not because of his love for her, but because there was a lot of cash that she brought to the table. So
a good lot of cash. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We're talking half $1 million. You know what I mean? That was just of what she was being, the inheritance that she got from her mother, and I think it was an aunt as well. You're talking nearly $500,000 there. You know what I mean?
$500,000, and then her father was sick, and he too. There's a lot of money from that side. Yeah. But that $500,000 would have been protected by inheritance laws.
Yes, so that would have been hers.
Yeah, Barry would not have had access. That would not have been considered marital assets. That would have been hers. But by talking her into putting that $500,000 into that house, now it's been converted to marital assets.
That's right.
So now he's got hands on the $500,000 legally. He can do away with her now.
Yeah.
Because now he's got that money to save himself. So go ahead.
Sorry, go on. I was just going to say, on the spy pen, it was like 80% of all the conversations or arguments were all about money. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Money. But magically never caught Barry talking to Shoho or any potential girlfriends. Almost like AK said, it's almost like he knew that the spy pen was in his truck.
Well,
that she had ordered one from Sheila.
Well, listen to me now. He was spying on her, so he probably seen her planting the spy pen, and not only that, she probably seen her fiddling with it. You know what I mean? Like, you see the micro camera that they had?
Yeah.
The micro camera. It's the size of a die. You know, a dice. You know, a single die. It's that size, and it records and everything. You know, and. That could be just sitting up on a shelf. She wouldn't have even seen it in between two books or something. I don't know.
It's chilling. It's chilling to think that's in your own house watching you. It's chilling. Yeah.
So the other thing is, where he's buying this stuff, he's probably in a store somewhere down in Colorado or Springs, or Springs there or somewhere like that, buying this stuff. Like, and he sees the pens. He'd recognize the pen then. You know what I mean? He probably had a pen himself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And was taping her, so he probably knew what to delete, because there was something they couldn't get, because it was like he could have probably had that going on with the noise in the background, which was blurring out. You know, it just like, this guy is a lot cleverer than what people think. Now, he's not. He's no Einstein, but he is a lot more clever than what we all got caught out, as far as I'm concerned. I thought he was like, this guy's stupid. Like, I mean, lying and all this stuff, and and behavior.
So in terms of intellect, I think that I think he did lay out all these breadcrumbs to try to get investigators to look in other directions, right? And so on the one hand, his his tracking knowledge came in. He was able to use that, but it was too, even what he did was too big for him to keep track of.
Oh, yes.
Methodically, and
Yes.
so it all kind of fell to pieces. And here's the problem: the minute they find her 50 miles south, the minute they find her, all of his breadcrumbs, there's a shining light on them for this is contrived nonsense. It doesn't. All of it suggested she ran off into the sunset.
Yeah.
And the reality is that she's in Moffett, sadly, in a grave. So why, Barry? Why did you say these elaborate lies and these stories and the missing money? Why did you do that? Like, what were you thinking? If you know everybody's looking at you, you're the prime suspect. Why in the world would you make up lies if you really believe that she's just gone or somebody got her? Why would you plant these little bits of evidence that are not real, but you planted it? You told the lie.
Yeah.
Why did you do that?
He lied. He lied before the 911 call. Martin, he told Martin Ritter that he was at the wall with his crew, and he couldn't talk, basically. So he didn't really want to talk. You know what I mean? He didn't want to talk to Martin Ritter. He didn't want to talk to Speezy. He didn't want to talk to anybody because he was guilty and didn't know really.
He was probably freaking out, right?
Yeah, freaking out.
Yeah, this was something that in his mind he thought, I've got to do this for my own survival. But then when the reality came, it was much different ball game than what he expected. When he
arrived at the bike side, and he got out and he gave George the big bro hug, and then
that was so bizarre. Oh my God, that was so bizarre.
And then next thing, you got Miles's mom come along, and another hug there, and then next thing he turns around and he's talking to the guy. Was it a crash or was it a wreck or whatever? And next thing, the guy said, and then he didn't even give him time to explain. He has this on the front of his brain that he's been practicing all the way from Broomfield about the line theory. He has to get it out, and he says it, blurts it out, and it says lion. And the guy said, "Yeah, the bike was lying, and it was lying." And he says, "No, mountain lion." And the minute he says mountain lion, you see Miles's mother. She puts her hands to her stomach, and she steps back.
Yes, away from Barry.
Away from Barry, and then says to the cop, "Where's my husband? I want to go to my husband." She knew that second. She knew what happened.
Absolutely.
And we all knew. Well, I did anyway. Well, I knew before, but that was very telling. That little clip of when he says the line, and the whole thing of that, like it's the last. Like I've been in this situation when I was a child. I was in the same situation where a woman lost her child who was murdered. And she came up in the car and she parked outside and we were out playing, and she said, "Have you seen my son?" And I could tell, I never forget her face asking that. She was totally destroyed.
Yeah.
But the thought of her son is missing.
Yeah.
And lucky, and it was terrible what happened to her son, but I'll never forget that face and how people react when they really are hit by grief. Or he wasn't. He was acting. 1 minute he was crying. The bike, you found the bike, and then next thing, "Can I have your information?" And he's, "Oh yeah." And then she was an avid biker. No, she was just amateur, or she was just new, or whatever. And on and off. You know what I mean? No tears.
Absolutely.
No tears whatsoever.
When he's in the house, when they're asking him to, for clothes and stuff, he's cool as a cucumber.
Oh, well, he thought he was going to jail. I think he was there, and he probably thought any minute now they're going to put the cuffs on me because they're going to suss this out. You know what I mean? Yeah. That must be in the back of his head. But
Yeah.
when I was talking, I put that text in about the Richardsons. Susie and Suzanne shared their birthday together.
Yeah.
If you read and go to the AA, you read the Richardsons, read Laura and Andrew Richardson, and read what their experience was. They were great friends. Laura's was going to with Suzanne for cancer treatments because Barry wouldn't go. Barry went on the missing, so she was filling in, and she was sitting there for Suzanne and driving her there, I presume, and waiting with her and coming back for chemo treatments, I'd imagine. So they went to the same church. They were the Grace Church, and Andrew was and Laura were contacted by Mallory around that evening, around 9 o'clock, or they arrived up there at 9 o'clock, and they stood with Barry. And you can actually see he's in the picture at one stage walking up near Barry. And so they're all together, and he wants to go search. And he said to Barry, we go down here, we go down there. And Barry was saying, no. And all Barry was doing was eyes on the cops, skulking in the shadows, watching the cops.
I'm gonna have to rewatch that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you'll only see all you will see. Look, this is reading what they're saying. You know, what I mean, if you read what they say in the AA,
Yeah.
go into the interview with the Richardsons, Andrew Richardson,
Okay.
and read the whole interview all the way down. And but basically, he talks then about he says he meets his own lawyer and whatever, and he says that get him to do a polygraph and that'll keep the heat off him and blah blah blah. And when he says about the polygraph, he turns around to Andrew and he says, "Yeah, I don't think I'd pass the polygraph." And he said the two of them just stood there. There was nothing said, and then he just kind of had to say, "I have to go" or something. He made excuses and said he had to leave. You know what I mean? It was just an awkward silence.
Yeah.
But Barry said that a few days, you know what I mean, in with the searching that was going on within a day or two of her gone missing. So, like, the AA is massive and there's so much in it.
Yeah, I don't recall that. I thought I had been through all of it, and I don't remember the Laura.
I tell you now, Jules, I've read this end to end 30 odd times, and I still I'm on it nearly every day, and I often find a little bit nearly every day I'm on there, you know, something I've missed or whatever, because your head, you can't take it all in. You know what I mean? It's all I don't know. It's just way too much. Go on.
What is your opinion on how Linda Stanley's office botched this so badly? It almost looks intentional. No,
I don't think so. I just think it, as I said before, it's like the perfect storm. You've got the cops, you know, this was a big, you know, too big for them. You had them kind of botching it up, but you had Linda then, who was taking on this job, and she was like a savior coming in to save and take on this this murder. She hadn't got the goods. The education. We look back into her education. She didn't have it. Her own sister said it. Like, she shouldn't be there. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
And she wasn't able to, you know, and then once somebody's in that position, trying to get them out of that position is, like, you see how long it took. Do you know what I mean? The pressure that we put on, or mainly Tom and a few others in our group, that put on a lot of pressure to get her out of it, you know? And so there's it was like the perfect storm. That's the way I'd look at it. I think, and that sadly, I look at what's happening in Moffat, and I see this gang of guys wearing ordinary clothes, and some with their sleeves rolled up, and some of them with hoodies, and some of them with hair hanging down, and they're doing a forensic search of that field. And I'm saying to myself, wow, this is not professional.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I do.
This should have been everyone in white Tyvek suits, hair covered,
That's right.
gloves on, plenty, second pairs of gloves, you know, how many of the blue shoes you have to put on them, whatever covers. But it's like, you know, oh, we just get in here with, they have a backhoe, they have
Yeah.
like a bobcat with tobacco on the back of it.
Crazy.
And it just, it made me feel so sick in my stomach when I seen it. And I
Yeah.
said, look, this is their second chance. This is their chance to put everything to bed and it'll be forgotten about what happened beforehand. If they can get in there and put this right. But they made up stories. We know there was no dart. There was no dart in the dryer, in a dart cap in the dryer. Do you know, that was your
Right.
help, your friendly cop helping get the bad guy. They knew who's the bad guy, but they couldn't pin it. Somebody said, wow, if I just throw this cap in there, you know what I mean? 9 days after, do you know, crazy. It's just crazy. But
It's, well, you know, you that area around Moffat, how many missing and or dead
loads.
people even in the last 3 years, right? So
Well,
you
you
would
see, it's an
think,
ideal place. It's an ideal spot. Like if you go up there, you jump into your Google Earth and you drive up and down like I do everywhere, and you look at the vegetation there. Like a body could be 10 feet, 5 feet in
and you'd never know it.
and
Yeah.
you never know it. You
Yeah.
know, and the houses are so sparsely apart. They're like from where that is down to the Dollar General is 2 miles. It's 2 miles
Yes.
down to the Dollar General.
But it
And
looks like no man's land, right?
no man's
Right?
land. There's one house, I think, between the Dollar General and that place. Do you know? And so now we know that Barry was 2 miles away from that site for a fact.
Okay, so if you look on the screen, Maureen Walsh posed a question. She
Hi,
said,
Maureen.
what date was the log that showed Barry near Crestone? Remy Construction is just 2 miles up from the tree.
No,
Actually, I think it's 4 miles up from the
no,
tree.
it's 10 miles. Remy
It's
Construction is
okay.
it's nearly 11 miles actually.
And
It's
is
at
that the
Remy Construction.
headquarters?
Remy Construction is at the original what came out first, which was the 113, and now we're at the mile marker 103. And Remy
Yes.
Construction was up another mile towards north, so it would have been 11
So it's
miles.
11 miles.
11 miles roughly from there.
And
And
is
Remy
it
Construction,
true? Is it true that Remy Construction's headquarters is in
yes,
Salida? Oh my
yes,
God! Don't
right,
say that, Martin.
yeah. Well, there's more to it than that now.
Okay.
Believe me, there's more than just that. But would be interesting if you look up Remy Construction and you look up their reviews.
Okay.
I think there's only 3 reviews they got, but the 3 people who reviewed it will make you smile, maybe. And so, but that's it's. I'm not saying that Remy Construction has anything to do with, but it has connections with Salida. There's no two ways about it. And but there's that area is a hunting area.
Yes.
People that live there who are associates with Barry are hunters and they have properties there.
Wow.
So, and in his map, what date was that log which showed Crestones? That's what Maureen's asking. So that's
Yes.
in the locations of Barry's truck. And Crestone, the turn for Crestone of the 17 is at the Dollar General. So Barry went to Crestone He had it in his, and this was before Suzanne. This was a couple of weeks probably before Suzanne, maybe
Yeah.
even a month. I don't know, but
Yeah.
this was a while before Suzanne was murdered. Like, so
But the
there's no
connection's
date.
there.
We've no dates, but what myself and Kurt know is that they're in order, so we can tell where Barry was and what was next and what was next and what was next and what was next. The very last entry on his locations was the forensics building where the truck was last. So if you get me, there are no dates on them. Now,
Yeah.
I can guarantee you law enforcement will know the dates because they have all the telematics. We only had the telematics from the 7th and the 6th, and with the Bobcat we had it from the 4th, a third, I think, the third with the Bobcat. But with the truck we only had it like I think it was the 6th, the 5th. Sorry, the 5th was or maybe the 4th, but we didn't have all the telematics for the truck. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have about 20 to 30 pages of data, which is, it's the important bit of it, you might think. But the other 600 pages that law enforcement have, because the pages are 24 out of 624, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they have 600 more pages of data, right?
Yes.
So that data will be able to tell them when that truck went out that direction. Now, also, Barry was able to manipulate his data. He was able to switch it on and off like a light switch.
Yeah,
So
and I
he
think
had,
a lot of people are confused about that he was able to turn his telematics off and on.
yeah, and we know that for a fact. We know that for a fact. We knew that very quickly, even before we had the E to Z complete. We had certain days we had complete, and we were saying, "This is weird." Do you know what I mean? This is weird. Why is this bit of telematics missing? Didn't make any sense. So when Barry was on airplane mode, and when at the time it was airplane mode, you would have no data as well. So he was just like going off. Do you know what I mean? He was just disappearing, basically. So he had no telematics and there was no airplane. So no phones and no to be traced. So, but this may not be the case all the time. So we know he was at Crestone. We know he was at Rico. He was at Telluride. And you know yourself, he likes the skiing.
Oh yeah.
And I'm thinking, was he going skiing with somebody who he went skiing with before?
So we saw him in Aspen.
That's right.
At Snowmass Mountain.
Yeah.
And he was sitting at the table with a man and a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, but they were skiing.
Yeah.
So yeah, he likes to ski.
Like Barry can't ski, I'd say. You know what I mean? With his dodgy knee, you know. But this, like Rico, was only an hour and 20 minutes from.
That's right.
From what you call it, Durango.
Yep.
And then go to another 20 minutes or 40 minutes, is it, to Telluride then after that. So, and it's the one route, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so why was he, do you know what I mean? This paints another picture of what was going on beforehand.
It does paint another picture. And I will say this too, for the people that are in the side chat listening. So I looked up Remy Construction in Salida. They only have 4 employees right now. When they originally signed up to LinkedIn, they had between 2 and 10 employees. This is a small company.
Yeah.
And isn't that interesting that we have this connection here now? Because if it was a bigger company that had like construction warehouses around many different communities in Colorado, maybe it wouldn't be such a shock, but it wasn't. It was 4 people. So it's very, very interesting.
I'm just trying to. How do I get into? How can I check the chat in the comments? Oh, I click on comments. Is it?
Are you on your phone?
Yes.
Or?
No, I'm
Okay.
I'm on the laptop. No, I have it now. I see Maureen there. Show. Haven't spoken with Maureen in a long time. It's great to see you, Maureen. So I'm only just seeing the chat. I'm not ignoring people. I'm just useless at multitasking. You know.
Yeah. Well, I would definitely not say useless at multitasking. I think you and AK have been amazing.
So this, I think, soon you're going to see. This is all going to come together. I think it's going to come together fairly quickly. You know what I mean?
I do.
Because the cat is out of the bag now.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were to ask me, how come they found Suzanne's remains up there? I'm saying that somebody was looking after their own interest. Somebody didn't trust Barry and said he's going to trust his lawyer and law enforcement to get him out of the situation. That's what I would say.
I don't think I understand. Can you explain? Well, basically,
say somebody who had some type of involvement. It mightn't be a big part, but this played some small part, and it's weighing on them for the last 3.5 years.
Yeah.
And they're worried when they see what happened to Jeff Puckett. And they're saying, wow, I could be next. And as they say, dead men tell no tales.
That's right. I mean?
So maybe they said, look, our client was willing to do a deal. He will give you her remains and he will, whatever deal he gets. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you now.
All right. Okay. So then once that starts, the next guy is going to do the same. Do you know what I mean? He's probably not going to get the same deal, but he now knows that there's information. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so that's my opinion anyway, because there's the chances of finding her up there, it would be more chances of winning the lottery 3 times over in the same week.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, we can look at this thing on Google Earth and whatnot, but until you're driving through that area, you cannot conceive of how deep that is from mountain range to mountain range. I'm telling you guys, it is massive. It's to happen to walk right there.
Yes.
Where that is crazy.
I said to Kurt, you could hide a dozen bodies on Puma Path and not find them.
Yes.
If you wanted it. Because I always said this about Barry and the machinery and what he had. If he really wanted to, he could have, dug a really big hole, and nobody know about it.
That's right.
So that's what I'm saying. The chances, and the reason they call that place the Boneyard up there is because, it's like a desert, but it's handy accessible. You know what I mean? Like if you pass the Dollar General and you come to that turnoff, it's ideal because it's a dead end, and if you drive in there and you've got that tree, you've got a bit of cover in there, and it's nighttime, nobody sees your vehicle. The road opposite wouldn't shine up your vehicle. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the road, once you turn off the 17, it kind of goes down a little bit, right?
Yes, it does.
The grade
it goes down,
yeah.
100%. Probably the height of a car. Do you mean, or even a bit more the further you're going into the field? So, yeah, I'd say pulled in there, nobody around. Nobody around, and that hole had to be dug then by hand, which, as I said, it wouldn't be great to get a picture of Barry with shovels in his hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And where do we see it in the hotel?
But we have a picture of him with shovels in his hand.
Shovels.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know, Jules.
Like he posed.
Jules, look, I had a horrible feeling that at one stage that she was in the landfill. You know what I mean? Through, you know, just one of those things. You know, you have to think. But
Yeah.
but thanks be to God to have her. You know what I mean? And it's only going to be a match. I think we're talking probably less than a month before he's arrested again, or you know, it depends on what they find. But I wouldn't be surprised if, as I said, that there's a twist in this, and the twist would be to they'd find something belong to say Jeff Puckett in the area. You with me?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
So Jeff isn't there to defend himself.
Correct.
And so yeah.
Thank God that AK got that interview with him.
Oh,
thank God. That is, there's so much there. It doesn't look like it on the surface, but it is a lot. So
like there's more. Good. There's more than that interview. There's like I've seen the one before that, which is the interview prior to him coming live. So the AK was chatting with him for about an hour beforehand, you know.
And so there's a little bit more there too.
Oh, there is, yeah, and probably less, you know, pressure on him, and you know, he just spoke freer.
Yeah.
But no, just look, Jules. There's so much, like I spoke to somebody yesterday, and I said it sounds like James Bond. Do you know what I mean? The way he's manipulated the phones and all that sort of stuff, like the photo of Suzanne, you know, that last proof photo.
Yeah, but you know what I think? When you guys started talking about the towel, I was thinking about that. So they were in Cancun, right?
Yes.
And if they're laying out on the beach and maybe they've had some drinks, because that was strange when he said, well, oh, she looks drunk in this picture. And Grushin said, well, she just looks happy to me. I don't know. Yeah. She doesn't look drunk. She just looks happy. So he's sort of giving you that consciousness of mind of, I was there when I took the picture and she was in fact drunk when I took the picture.
I think she took that picture. I think it's a selfie.
I mean, I know that's what we thought, but looking at it, I'm thinking, I think he took the picture of her and it was on his phone.
No, I don't think it was on his phone. I think it was in her phone, and then it was either on her WhatsApp, and then it was taken.
Well, it was on it was on the WhatsApp because she sent it to Libler, right? Or the story is that she sent it to Libler.
Well, but we don't know that. She might have sent it to Libler. She might have sent it to one of her friends. She might have sent it to Sheila. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I will tell you what I thought. I thought she sends that picture to Libler during their supposed last conversation, right?
Yes.
And so what went through my mind, if this is Barry, in fact, allegedly speaking to Libler as if he were Suzanne, then he can send, if he has his photograph from his phone saying that he actually took in Cancun of her, but he's talking to Libler now months later and he's saying, oh yeah, I'm just sunbathing, and he sends the picture as Suzanne to Libler.
Yes.
So look at it differently. Look at it, if you're laying out on the beach together, would that be a photograph that you might take of your wife or your friend, you know, as you're just hanging out together?
I honestly don't think so, because it looks definitely like a selfie to me. Do you know what I mean? Because if I was taking a photograph of somebody, like you would stand, you know, you would make sure everything was perfect and all that sort of stuff. All the photographs that she takes of herself, she's very photogenic. All the photographs you see of her, they're they're like nearly like models taking these. You know what I mean? You know,
Yes.
her eyes, and she's very good at. But you see the ones when she's biking. You know, they're all clear. You know, she doesn't send rubbish photographs. She obviously checks and said, "Well, I'm not sending that one. I'll take another one." But this photograph is very poor, very grainy, no background whatsoever. Absolutely no. It was like it was overexposed or whatever. And
that's one of the reasons I thought it was Barry that took the picture, because it doesn't look like.
No, I tell you now what I believe. That photograph was in her albums or whatever. He got access to all of her photographs and everything when he got into her phone. But he cropped that. You know, he cropped that and sent it because there was no phone. There's no metadata. If you look in the files from the prelim stuff, there's metadata for the ones in on the mountain trails and that, but there's no metadata with that photograph.
See, isn't that right there itself? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Right. So, there's something different about that picture, and you're right. If he had cropped it.
But remember, they were asking Barry. They asked Barry several times where we can't kind of figure out where she was laying out. Where was she laying out? He said, "Well, it had to be at the house." He was talking to her. He said, "You know, he was talking with her. Could he not just say, look, she was at the breezeway, where all the stuff is?"
Yeah. So why didn't he know where she was? Absolutely.
But he avoided the questions. Like, he had to be asked so many times. And you're getting frustrated when you're reading through this and you're saying, answer the bloody question, will you? You know, answer it. But he doesn't. He doesn't, because he has to be so careful about what he answers. You know what I mean? Because later on, that will come back to bite him. If he's admitting something and then they find out that no, about this photograph, it was dodgy or whatever, you know what I mean? He doesn't want to be responsible for it, you know?
Yeah.
So, but that photograph definitely, the weather, right? I put out the weather report. And if you look at the photograph, this photograph is taken by a pool, I'd say, or out on somebody's balcony, or maybe at a hotel or whatever. But it's definitely, there's not a hair out of place.
Yeah.
And when you see the weather report for that day, there's gusts of wind and it's pretty cold, 43 degrees or 39 or something. You know what I mean? It's not sunbathing weather. Do you know what I mean?
No.
And the other thing is, when you know what's just after happening, not for what Barry's telling us all, but when you know, right, the story I've just told you of what's happened. Do you think for 1 minute that she's going to lay out half naked out in the backyard?
No way. Like, that is not real. That was just like the shared steak on one plate. That is not real. That is not real.
And you know, Jules, I tell you this, when I was doing this, when Seven Court had this kind of a clash, and he says, "I'm calling your bullshit," and he says, "You've got to prove this to me," or whatever. When we had this, I had to go and change my timeline from Barry's phone to Suzanne's device. Not Suzanne called Barry. Suzanne's device called Barry.
Yeah.
I had to do all that because it plays tricks on your head when you're reading it. You think, "Oh, she's still." Hold on a minute. Then you say, "But she's not alive."
Yeah.
And this happens to everybody. Your people in your audience there now. I get it on Reddit. I get it that when you are writing something that's coming out of the AA, and they see and they say, "Oh, well, she was probably doing this, or she was probably," and I said, "No, she was already deceased at that stage." "Oh God, yes, you know."
Yeah. But also, I am also of the opinion that someone is putting out some of this information that's inaccurate. For example, saying that this conversation with Melinda happened on the 9th. That is something that gets repeated over and over and over.
Yes.
Well, and I don't know if you remember. Do you remember early on someone came forward and said that they saw a woman in an SUV that was screaming for help?
in
Yeah.
Salida, yeah.
And I'm saying, okay, well, if you see that, was it 4 a.m.? No, it wasn't 4 a.m. So there's
like
somebody that's been out there
well,
dropping nuggets of information that's misleading.
this is coming from the Facebook group with Gusty and Troy Skinner and Barry and Shosho and all them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They're engineering this, like, and then it's
Yeah.
being put out, and their trolls go out. It's like, you know, the Wicked Witch of the West, and she says all the monkeys, flying monkeys, off you go, and that's it. So you've got the two people witnessed strange vehicle at the bike site.
Right.
One was Shosho, and the other was her ex fiance.
Yeah.
And who just happened to be just two strangers. And then one of them happened to be having an affair then with Barry afterwards.
Yeah. Oops.
You know, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then we find out that she was staying in the house, basically nearest house to Barry's house. She was staying in the house in Gusty Cushman's house, which is just at the entrance, more or less, of a Puma Path.
That's right.
So you've got then you got that lady that was found in Colorado, photographs that Iris put up. That was Suzanne walking around, and we never got to see her face. Only glimpses of certain angles. So there was a guy walking behind her, making sure that he was taking photographs of her. He could not see her face. And then, lo and behold, wasn't she a homeless person from Salida? And a lot of the group knew her. So this is the depths they go. That Iris posted these pictures up of this woman.
And look, if all of this is true, clearly it's true because we're watching it happen in real time, right? Then the next logical question is why? Like, do you think all these people are doing this because they love old Barry? There's something else. There's got to be another explanation for why so many people are invested in this track of misinformation.
Now there is a lot of people, friends of Barry's. Like you've got Kurt Ziegler. He was on. He was a friend of Barry's and Suzanne's, and he had his interview, and he kind of didn't want to. He kind of denied everything, but when he came out off the record, he spoke, and he said, "I think he did it. I think he killed Suzanne." Do you know what I mean?
Barry lost a lot of friends.
Oh yeah.
He lost a lot of friends.
Like the only friends he has now are people looking for money.
Yeah, I would agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He hasn't got anybody who trusts him. Like Shosho, I'd say she has defense things going on. You know, if anything happens to her, this is all going to go out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like she would, and she hasn't got that. She's a lot stupider than what I think she is. You know.
Yeah, it's a warm and fuzzy group, isn't it? Nice friends.
nice people. As I said, lovely people.
Yeah. Walking around thinking about what's your insurance policy is very frightening.
Yeah, but I'd say he went to Durango and he said to Suzanne or Suzanne said it to Sheila on one of her texts, and this was in 2018, I think, or early 2019. That Barry was going off away to Durango, right? And I said, wow. And I only found this out about 8-10 months ago, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I missed this, you know what I mean? But this is probably how long this affair could have been going on. And I'd say they were having an affair and she was still going out with, what's his name, Francis.
Mm-hmm.
Like she took stuff out to Francis. It broke into his house, took her stuff, and took some of his stuff, and went to court. And Francis got soft and didn't get her put away or anything. You know what I mean?
She's not squeaky clean girl by any stretch. She's had her own share of legal issues for sure.
And she's tough as in, you know what I mean? You wouldn't want to get into a brawl with her. Do you know, if you're another woman, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
They're there's another little story that of an accident where somebody got killed, and somewhere out in Howard County, I think, and it's tied to her,
Really?
and yeah, and so I don't know, like this is.
I don't know. I hadn't seen that. I'll have to.
Oh, I can give you more details, or court can give you more details. Either of us, you know what I mean. But I can't stuff I can't pull out. You know what I mean? This,
No. Yeah, I'll
you know,
I'll message and do
yeah.
it behind the scenes. Interesting. Yeah, this is a pretty rough group of people. This is, you're given the illusion because Suzanne was pretty mainstream, sweet, beautiful. You're kind of given this illusion of this normal middle class kind of lifestyle, but his life there in Salida was not
No,
on parallel to what Suzanne was living. It
no,
doesn't.
no.
Her
Like
friend,
he was a thug in
yes.
Salida, like a guy that kicks people out of their homes during COVID. Do you know what I mean?
No, I didn't. Wow, I didn't know
You know,
that.
like a bouncer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
A doorman or whatever. Like he was, some business people were using him, muscle men, and a few of them to kick, people out of their properties because they were struggling with COVID payments and all, totally against the law, but intimidate them. So this is the type of person, like this was going on before
yeah.
Suzanne
Well,
disappeared, or was killed.
there's a lot about the things in Indiana, the history in Indiana. There's a lot that sort of speaks of organized crime, doesn't it?
Oh well, he was like he was crooked. Do you know what I mean? With what he was doing, like he thinks it's okay to do these. The amount of court cases this guy has,
It's so
from
many. It's
yeah.
so many. Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
like I remember Matt one time was going into all that. Matt Blanc.
Yeah.
He was doing going into all the finances or whatever. And no, it wasn't my cup of tea, but I used to just watch Matt channel and said, "My God, this guy, he just has no shame
Yeah.
whatsoever." Do you know,
Yeah.
like that one where he's helped out some guy and next thing he gets his house after a man dies. Do
Yeah.
you know, and how did he die? We don't know. Like, but I often wonder. You know what I mean? You just wonder.
Well,
So
anyway, whether someone is trying to, like you said, cover their own butt and kind of said, well, you might find something out across the road by the tree. You don't know how it is that they came to be there, supposedly under the auspices of looking for Edna Quintana.
yes,
But even Jason Montoya, who had been missing from Denver for 6 months, they found him way over, like toward Crestone, toward the hills,
yes,
not there on that main Highway 17 area.
yes.
So like you said, there's some question how the cops honed in on that area.
Because we were getting the impression, weren't we, that we were in a cemetery, like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
There was bodies everywhere here. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
That was, and this is what kind of Iris is panicking, and she's texting so fast and sending the posts out, and
she did, and she jumped right from, the girls are devastated, it's so sad, to
angry.
Didn't do it. How dare you say Barry did it?
Yeah. Angry.
Like, whoa,
you can see the flames coming out of her ears. Like, I mean,
yes.
I want my money.
Don't mess with my lawsuit.
Yeah. Don't mess with my share of that 15 million. I'd say she's in for about a quarter of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd say she's in for about a quarter. Because when you start to go through that lawsuit, but I'm still not even all the way through it. But she's repeated stuff over and over again, and she probably knows that Barry can't read. So So she's showing all this hard work I'm doing, Barry. This is going to cost a lot more than, 3 million,
God. Yeah. No, it's pretty, it's quite, who would have ever imagined that all of this opens up after over one beautiful young woman going missing?
Yes.
It's just incredible. The things that surround Barry, it's amazing. It's incredible. It's incredible.
You know how I got involved in this, Jules? Did you hear how I got involved?
I didn't know. I don't know.
So we're all doing our thing at COVID, and I'm sitting on my laptop and I'm into this Adventures with Purpose. I came across it and I thought, these guys are great, finding these cars and bodies and whatever. And next thing, this next episode came up and it was Kurt and the search in Salida. And
he was there. Yeah.
Yeah, I seen the picture of Suzanne and was listening to the story, and Kurt was really emotional in this whole thing.
He was.
And it just got to me, you know what I mean? And as soon as that episode was over, I Googled Suzanne Morphew and Salida and whatever. And I seen the 26-second video was the first thing I seen. And I said, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. This guy is so guilty.
Yes.
And so I started watching everything I could, everyone's channel, your channels, anyone's channel, who had anything to do with Suzanne. And I was watching it. I never posted anything in the beginning. I was just reading everything. And I had started a little file with a few notes into it. And then I just said, I can't just sit by. Do you know what I mean? I just can't sit by and just let this go. This guy is getting away with it,
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that it took so long to arrest him, really, at the start. But then, as I got into it,
do you ever stop to think about, of all the missing people, of all the murders that happen, isn't it interesting how there was something about Suzanne that just kind of energized everyone? Right? There was so many people.
I think it was. Do you know what I think it was? Because I did watch Chris Watts as well. And see, Chris Watts, that was horrible as well, and really horrible. But he was tucked up and put away in jail in a very short time. Do you know what I mean?
So, like, record time.
Yeah. Because the interview he did, he started giggling in the middle of it, and it just looked so horrible. It was all false.
Yeah.
And then when you see the camera inside the house, when he's skulking, can't keep a straight face. And this, obviously, we didn't get the chance to see Barry in this situation because he'd done his own video. Like, who does their own plea video?
And supposedly
he must be the first ever. The first ever, I'd say.
Was it Cassidy that was there that made him do it? Someone made him do it on the picnic table. Trevor made him. Trevor. Yes.
Well, Trevor
sitting on the picnic table. Yeah.
Yeah. Trevor was had the what you call it, his business. So he was able to use a video, and Barry's good at looking at cameras, but he wasn't good at working with cameras.
Yeah.
And listen, the funny, Barry was to use the same wording as Chris Watts. I want you back so. I want you back so bad.
So bad.
So bad. And so he's listening to all these these death murder mysteries when he was working, and this guy he's basically doing this as a project.
Correct.
Do you know what I mean? And you can see that's why there was no arrest, because Barry was clever, and people say, "Oh no, he's not clever," but he is clever.
Yeah, he is. Absolutely.
A bit sick, you know what I mean? A lot sick, but he went he actually worked it out that this mountain lion thing would make him look a bit stupid, and the way he talks and in the interviews, and you know, he comes across as being a bit stupid. You know what I mean?
Well, what I'll tell you one stupid
Chipmunks
thing. Yeah, so I'll tell you one stupid thing that he said that I think was a complete miscalculation on his part. He gives this impression for the mount. I mean, he blames everybody. He even blames God. Okay.
Yes.
So he has as one of the potential suspects this mountain lion, and he says, "Oh, did the cat get her? You know, maybe the cat got her." Well, he's supposedly this great outdoorsman. He's this great hunter. Where's the blood, Barry?
Yes.
If you're trying to say that her being on that bicycle prompted this instinct from this, you know, wildcat to attack her, she would have spilt literally pints and pints and pints of blood right there. And they don't drag them uphill. They don't. They
downhill.
put them someplace that they go downhill the easy, and then they find a place to bury them and save them, right? And then they'll go back and feed over the course of several days. So Barry, right there on a flat dirt graded road, and you're trying to say there's not a drop of blood after being attacked by a mountain lion?
Yeah.
Where's your great outdoor skills, Barry? So he was just frantically, he was just throwing things out, anything to make people look anywhere but Moffat, in my opinion.
But you know, this business of him, like even at that early stage, to mention that a cop seen a mountain lion at that evening going past his patrol car, you know.
And was that true, or was that a bald-faced lie?
A bald-faced lie. There was no cop admitted to that.
That's what I thought.
Now, he was asking people. I believe he was asking cops if is any trace of a mountain lion and stuff like that.
Because he's
but it didn't come the other way around, because that would be so crazy. Do you know what I mean? And
but he was planting seeds, right? He was
all
planting
the time.
seeds of doubt.
Like the bike thing. Like, oh, to Morgan, she wants to get the wife. I have to go make the wife happy. She wants to go hiking or biking. You know.
Yeah.
The bike was mentioned so many times.
Yeah. But it wasn't the big expensive bike, was it?
No, but it was. No, that.
I thought the bike they found was the parts bike.
No, that was what's his name? Fish McDonough. That came up with that, and I pulled him up on it. And I said, because he put this out there, and he put another thing out about a girl called Brittany, who was who Barry was having was the girlfriend, who wasn't. She was a waitress, all right, but this thing about the parts bike, a $200 parts bike, and they had a program about this. So he had all his panel on that, you know, and I posted it. I think he didn't like when I posted it, but probably deleted it. Yeah. But no, that was the original bike, you know, and the bike was only bought recently, and the helmet, all the clothes, she had everything. You know, she was mad into doing this. She enjoyed it. It was a new release for it, and she was at all the kit and caboodle, and she was loving it. But she was only doing this about 6 weeks.
Right. This was sort of a parallel, that something she had in common with Jeff Libler, right?
He was a
big biker, and so maybe that got her interested in it.
And he was picking out routes for, you know, showing her different ones on the internet. He was finding them, so it was something they could chat about as well. You know,
exactly.
But what was funny, when you look at some of the pictures, there's another 3 or 4 bikes in the garage. So I can imagine when Jean Ritters came over and she opened up the garage window and said, "God, which bike is it?" You know, you know, there's 4 bikes in here. You know, which is the one? You know,
right?
And having to go back to the house and ring Barry again, go back again and check if it's the blue one is there. Yeah. And but even all that, you know, Wasn't that the clever thing that Barry did? Was to get Martin Ritter to ring the cops and get the cops down looking for the bike before he got. If the bike hadn't been found before he came home, or if it had been not found at all at night, can you imagine? Barry would have been in jail, the last person to see her.
Yeah, he would
It
have
would
been
have
the
been
center of attention rather than the bicycle being the center of attention.
100%. That was the clever thing. And this is why he said to Martin Ritter, oh, I can't talk. I'm with my crew here at the wall at my job site.
And that wasn't true.
And
that was
it wasn't
a lie,
true at
y'all.
all. So he
was
lied.
not there.
He lied even before the 911 call went out. You know, minutes
but
before.
He had it mapped out. He knew what he was going to say and what the messaging was going to be, allegedly.
Oh, he turned around and said, well, can you call, I have very bad signal here or whatever like that, and I'm with my crew or whatever, and I'm packing up tools and all this rubbish. Can you imagine?
And there was no crew even.
No crew
not only was he not at the wall, you guys, there was no crew there.
No.
Jeff and Morgan did not get there until like 10 o'clock that night.
Yes, around that time.
And here's a question.
Yeah.
He told Morgan to go through Colorado Springs.
We don't know that. And I said to Kurt, I hear this a lot, so I'll only say what I know. So I don't know if he was told or they were told, but I can just imagine that it's a lovely day and Morgan's driving and Jeff is in the backseat of the car and he's going for a snooze and Morgan's just saying, I'm going to go the scenic route. You know, I'm going to go this route. I prefer to go this route. You know what I mean? It might be a bit longer. I've been no rush. You know, the job's not starting till tomorrow. Do you know why? Do you know that'd be my opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can't believe there was I can't believe that. I actually believe more or less what Morgan is innocent of anything. To be honest.
Yeah, I don't think Morgan and Jeff had anything to do with this. No. I think they were being set up as a patsy.
Jeff was definitely being set up.
Yes. So I really think, okay, number one, the scenic route would have been to go north and up to 70 and then to Broomfield. That would have been the scenic route. To go down, and then I guess you go through Canyon City and then to the interstate going up towards Denver. You're at an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. And it's basically once you get down south of Salida, you come out south of Salida, you're in this beautiful, beautiful area that's like ranches, like big ranches and Maytag ranches out there. And I mean, it's really lovely. It's like old West, beautiful Rocky Mountain. But then it's not far. And now you're in that flat desert kind of sagebrush area.
Yeah.
Like similar to Moffett, right?
Yeah.
So it's not really a very pretty drive. Initially, when you're coming away from Salida, it is. But once you get over and you turn toward Canyon City, it's just gross. And then you get on that freeway, and that freeway from between Colorado Springs and Denver is just flat and straight. There's nothing. It's just just flat.
I can't say, Jules. I can't say either way. I just we've had this conversation lots of times now, myself and Kurt, but I just
one thought I will say this. One thought would be if you were to take what we're calling the scenic route. Of course, they didn't leave until later, right?
Yeah.
So it would have been getting dark. It gets dark a bit earlier in the mountains, but going that way, it would have been dark, really, really dark, and elk moving. It might have been dangerous to go that way. She may have decided to go through Colorado Springs to cut down on the chances of having a deer run out in front of you.
Maybe,
or,
yeah.
Just safer and faster on that straight highway in the dark, as opposed to trying to navigate that windy mountain. I mean, it's a beautiful drive, but it is windy.
But Barry took the 285. You know what I mean? He took the 285 basically all the way.
That's right.
To Morrison, and I actually think he went right through Aurora, and he dumped off the
Yes.
cooler and the
Yes.
blanket and the suitcase there, because the mileage works out. If you go onto your Google there and you Google the mileage between Puma Path and you add in Aurora and you then put in the hotel, Broomfield, the mileage comes exactly to the mileage, 183 miles. And that's what he done, 183 miles. So,
wow.
and those people, what they said, you see, is they subtracted Barry's journey home, which was 167 miles, from his known mileage, which was 183, or it's actually there was 181 to Broomfield. I think they worked it out, and then into the hotel, but they added another 2 miles, where it was actually only 1 mile from where he arrived in Broomfield to the hotel. So, but it was a 14-mile difference. So when I was asked to look at that Aurora, if it worked out, I couldn't get it to work because I had only 14 miles to work with. And I tried all different ways of doing it. But what was wrong was the mileage coming home was wrong, because Barry went somewhere, turned off his telematics between 12:30 and 5 p.m. sometime in that time when we all thought he was staying in the hotel all the time. He went somewhere. He went somewhere, probably met somebody or whatever. He went somewhere.
Why didn't the cameras pick him up leaving?
That's we want to know. We want to know why the cameras. Why is this not being said? Why? But we know that there's mileage missing, and also that his truck moves on the telematics. It moves. It's not moved. Doesn't move far. It only moves like about 6 feet, but it's parked roughly in the same place. It's a slightly different place, basically. It's like the next car, like he's like 1 car space, and then he's over half a car space. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
you feel like he was turning the telematics off and on, and he just
he was.
where he had
I know he did,
yeah.
because when he went to McDonald's, when he left McDonald's, there's missing telematics and there's missing mileage.
And that was throwing me off, because I kept saying to myself, how can he be at McDonald's and the hotel at the same time? Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
No,
but I was wrong about that.
The clock. See, the clock was out. Wrong. The clock is out by an hour on the cameras, and I spotted this very early, and I said to Kurt, because I had a security camera up where I was working, and it was always half the year was wrong, because we never changed the clock, because people just don't bother to change the clock. You know, they look at it.
I am guilty.
So on the security camera, it was an hour out. And also on the one at the Shell station, that was the one I noticed first, was the one at the Shell station. That was out by an hour. And then when we couldn't get the things right, I said, my God, it's out by an hour. It's out by an hour. This is out by 1 hour. And 100% out by the hour.
Wow.
But the other thing then was, when he left the McDonald's, he drove to a car wash just up the road, because it's the right mileage. He would have used the car wash, there's no 2 ways about it, to wash down the back of his truck.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Because if he had clothes and stuff like that was contaminated with or dirt or anything like that, and dirt off the wheels and stuff like that, he would have had to wash that truck down. No 2 ways about it. Just to make sure there was no trace of, driving over the same spot or whatever like that was already contaminated. And but there is those missing miles, a few, not much now, but there's a couple of bits where there's missing miles. It's as though he wants us to think that he's gone to the job working. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's not actually there, because the work he done was like took 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, and you can see it. You can see it blow by blow where he is reversing back and knocking off the cappings and just throwing them up. And that was just a little workout for him, you know.
Yeah.
So it took about 11 minutes, I think, or 12 minutes of actually physical work, and then came away.
Yeah, I think Jeff said it looked like he just knocked the caps.
That's what he did.
Top.
That's all.
Yeah.
But that's all he did. Yeah, that's basically all he did.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Broomfield thing, I know as well that the whole story of the Broomfield, because I was into the same type of game, you know, I mean, building and landscaping and stuff. So if you were doing a wall like that, you don't need to have your crew there and go through the job. You get a set of drawings. They're revised drawings, which shows you're going X amount extra blocks in the height, and you're going extra amount of the blocks in the length, and you need so many more blocks, and you see so many extra cappings. You need X amount of new geogrid, and you need packing, and you need whatever you need. You have a list.
Right.
And you just order materials.
You're using schematics, right? So there's got to be some level of blueprint engineering to know even.
But there is, and you can see them, and you could. Lauren Shaft had them on her thing she did on the Broomfield wall. You see the drawings.
Who had it?
Lauren.
Okay.
So you can see it now. I don't. If you can't see that, I can see it. So you have to put your VPN on and do the European version.
Okay.
Because you can get it on the European version, but I think sometimes people were saying that some of it's taken down. So, but it's still there. You know, okay. I can find it anyway. But you'll see the drawings here, the revised drawings, and it shows what he has to do. So, like, it's a wall. It's not a house. It's not a hotel.
Correct.
Do you know what I mean? It's you've got,
and it's not a very big wall.
And you know, it's a $70,000 wall. That's what it was, $70,000, right?
Yeah.
And which is a nice figure, actually.
Well, it's a government contract. That's one of the reasons why it's so much higher.
But
it's highway dollars.
Well, this was to redo the wall that he made a mess of the first time.
That's right. Yeah.
To put it right, and also to make it longer and higher in certain areas. That's what the wall was to do. But he only had one worker at the time, and that was Morgan.
Yes.
Jeff wasn't belonging to him. Jeff was belonging to DSI, and so was Cassidy. Actually, Rocky Massa was actually looking for Cassidy and saying, "Where the hell are you? You're supposed to be at this job." And he says, "Oh, I'm with Barry, and get your ass back here." You know what I mean? So Barry didn't have a crew. Barry had Morgan.
That's
it.
I mean? And she got in touch with Jeff.
And she got hold of Jeff, and then the thing was Cassidy was done between Barry and Cassidy. That wasn't mentioned at all. You know what I mean? But Barry,
I saw the Remy construction comments.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe smile.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you've got so you've got Cassidy, and you've got Morgan, and you've got Jeff. The three of them alone, no way. You would need the Bobcat, you need a backhoe, and you would need more people to strip all that back down, compact the foundation, dig it longer, pack it down, and rebuild the wall. But no, that's not, like, nobody's giving you $70,000 just for a Monday and a Tuesday, maybe, you know, to patch up a bit of wall. The guys that came, the guy that owned the company, who a friend of Barry's, he got his own company, his own guys in to put the wall right, and they took it all down, the whole lot of it down, and they did it again, basically, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what had to be done. So I know that was bullshit. The whole thing was bullshit. Like, the materials should have been sitting there or arriving when the people arrived on Monday. And there would be areas, you would have had cones, you would have had areas for people to walk around. And, you know, you just cannot just, you know, it's just, that's not the way things are done. And any builder would tell you that. Any builder would tell you that what he was talking about was bullshit. So there might have been a wall to be done, but there was no wall. That was something when he decided he was going to do the job on Suzanne, that's when everything came into plan. Talk with Cassidy, Morgan, and change of plans. And because Morgan said it on Saturday, everything changed.
Yeah.
Do you know?
That speaks right there to something special happened.
Yes.
And are we to believe that something special happened to make these incredible changes and she got abducted and it was unrelated? That's just that's not true.
Do I think it was planned? Do I think it was pre-planned to the day? No. I think this was pre-planned in Barry's mind. It was going to happen. He was
probably planning it a long time.
But the execution of it was, I'd say, when he had that suicidal thing and all that was going on, I think he probably thought that he was going to be able to change her and things, she'd come around or whatever. And when she wasn't budging, well, that was it. He said, well, that's it. And
his famous temper may have kicked in too.
Well, he had the temper on the Wednesday, driving up recklessly on the Wednesday. And he was like a lunatic. That's what I was told. And all over the road. And she said it about driving, threatening to jump out of the car, gun, all of that was in the grievances.
Yeah.
The other one was in the grievances, was the bear claw. Right? What does that mean to you, bear claw? Does it mean anything?
I don't know. I mean, how did she say it? Did she just put bear claw or was there a sentence?
Just bear claw.
So it gives you the impression that it's his hand,
something.
Right?
No. Bear claw to me means specifically a bear claw. And I believe that Barry, do you know when you're with another woman or a man or whatever, and the woman buys a gift? Sometimes it could be, a watch strap or whatever.
Right.
But a piece of jewelry or a ring, and then all of a sudden you say, oh, where did you get that from? Where did he get that?
Yeah.
He wouldn't normally buy that for himself. And now he's wearing a bear claw.
I see.
And what the bear claw means, if you read up what a bear claw means, it means the hunter, the majestic hunter, and blah blah blah. And
so you think
yes, this was, she knew that he was wearing this, it was odd to her to mention it in the grievances. The things that she mentioned in the grievances probably don't mean a lot to you and me and the listeners here, but to Barry, basically what she spilt out, kind of saying, I know everything, Barry.
Yeah.
I've been keeping notes. Do you know what I mean? Do you think I'm stupid?
Yeah.
I know what's been going on. You can say what you like, that there's no affair, I'm crazy, whatever. I'm not. And this, you know what I mean? And that's why she put it into a cloud. She put it into a cloud so he couldn't get hold of it. Because she was worried.
It's so interesting. It's so interesting. There's so much there and they couldn't keep him, that they lost him. It's just so hard to wrap your head. Yeah.
Well, if you look at Johnny Grusing, right, he puts in, I can't tell you what pages on now, but he says to Barry, he says, well, we actually thought it was Suzanne went missing on the Friday. Same as me. I'm looking at all the evidence. Until they found Libler and they got his phone details of the phone conversation.
Yeah.
Right? Which then made it, well, it couldn't be because Suzanne was alive. Because nobody's going to believe what I'm telling you now. Nobody believes it. That Barry could manipulate and use her phone in the way he did.
Of course he could do it.
I know, but most people say no. They go, no, that can't be. They think, like, I was talking to Michelle Walks or Michelle, whatever it is,
Yeah.
And I put something on, and she says no. she has a read Z and everything, and she's saying no, she was alive on the Saturday, and I'm saying no, she wasn't. You know,
I agree with you. I don't believe not for a minute that she was alive on Saturday.
no.
That conversation with Melinda, the comment about the billing, it came to a head on Friday. That's when it exploded.
Well, you see, it's the whole thing really to me is the cops didn't get it. Gruesing missed it out. That grievances is a lot hotter than what everyone thinks. It's very personal.
And her storing it in the cloud like that was almost like, in case something happens to me,
Yes,
this needs to be out there.
It's in the safe. This is what people are going to find out. If something happens to me, that's going to, people will know. But
That's
you see, it's nearly in code in a way, like the bear claw and things like that. But to Barry, when he's reading that, he is seething. He's reading this, and his pants unzipped, and his talking to himself in the hot tub, and he's whatever it is, all these things that are in this grievance are, he said, God, all this time, I just think that she just knows, she knows all these items about me. And he just, now everyone's going to know. He's going to tell the girls, I have to shut her up now.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
And even then, she managed to ring or to text Melinda, and he would have seen that text because he had every message that she said. He could read the messages on his device, and he could read the girls. I believe he could read Mallory's, and he could read Macy's as well, because he says to Mallory or to Macy at the time in the hotel, you realize that those messages aren't going to your mom. The messages that you're sending to your mom are not going to your mom. They're coming to me.
Yeah.
He says this to Macy.
Wow.
Do you know? And like, I could be here all night, Jules. I could tell. You know what I mean?
I know, and I do. I am enjoying this so much, but I'm telling, I have to go.
Yeah.
So sorry. I'm so sorry, but I do. I have to go see my child this afternoon.
Okay. Yes.
So
my child is sitting up looking at the window here now. My little Pom.
Oh, so you have a Pomeranian?
I do have. I did have a Springer as well, but she was passed away there just
I'm sorry.
a couple of months ago.
Yeah. So I have a little Pomeranian.
I know.
Too. She's bigger.
I often hear her barking in the background, and she sounds the same as my one. So
they are yippy dogs.
Yeah.
So, but look, we have to continue this conversation. So much great information. And knowing that there's a group out there that is intentionally putting out information that is not true makes it all the more. Yeah, it's all the more important that the truth be put out there and us stay focused on what is fact. That is important. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but thank you so much. I appreciate it, Martin.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I was going to come up a few times, but just not the right timing. You know what I mean? So
yeah, no, I'm so glad you did. It was a nice treat. It was unexpected, so I'm really appreciative.
Great. All right, folks. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Martin. You have a good day.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, people. Wow, that was so great, wasn't it? So nice to hear the reality of what the facts are as opposed to what these common narratives are. Really, and Grusing is he's one of the detectives that I have a lot of faith in. I think he's a good guy. I think he really tried, but I think the Libler story just sort of threw him for a loop, and got him off course. But I agree that Saturday seems really contrived, seems off. Seems like Friday's probably more accurate. Questioning Crime, welcome. Good to see you. Okay, everybody, I have to go. I have to go see my kids this afternoon. So thank y'all for being here, and I'll see you later on. All right. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate it. I guess I'll, no, I can't do that. All right. So y'all have a wonderful day. Thanks for being here. Bye.